There's 3 that come to mind. I wouldn't say that's a lot, but it's 3. It's 3 more than Dan. So Rayan, who I was in the taxi with, we came from the airport today as our plane was delayed. And he gets an outside edge to the next delivery. One of 3 boys from Melbourne that their coach Sohail, who captains the Pakistan team in the senior ACL tournament. He's from Melbourne as well. He's picked up these 3 young boys from Melbourne. And Rayan Farouk is one of them. He's 2 from 11, the left-hander. And Saeed is from the western suburbs. So they're none for 8 in the 3rd over. Henry Zeitz has had a great start here. He's had 1 run from his bowling so far.
He did it?
1 run.
Yes.
Well done.
And loves it too. He plays in the Winter T20 tournament in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. I think he runs a fish and chip shop in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. Wide of the off stump, and he was looking to maybe try and get on the back foot there and play that over the slips cord and over the wicket keeper's head, but it just got away from him. The umpire though didn't call that a wide. So Saeem 5 off 6. Rayan Farouk 2 off 11. Projected score is 60 at the moment, but let's forget about that. No. Zeitz, oh, beautiful delivery right across the bows of the right-hander. A swing and a miss by Saeem. Didn't have his foot to the pitch. And now we've got the batting lineup, which we're happy about. Isa, Hasnain Saganda, Tala, Afzal Ahmed, Azan Saeed among those still to come. They're very young looking. I know they're all young, but I mean, he looks about 15 years old, the Australian captain. Oh, well, he might be 15, but he looks about 15. Ben Baker. Oh, if you're good enough, you get in. I mean, the Pakistanis have been hiding their age for years, haven't they? Well, they have. And I mean that in a nice way. Rayan Farouk forces this behind square. That's true, isn't it? It's 4 runs. It was a Yorker length ball by Singh. Dupinder Singh hasn't quite got his line right. And Rayan Farouk, it's, well, it looked a bit awkward, but it got the required result behind square. They had Harsh and Raza, they said was 16, I think he was 18 or 19, still young. I know Tendulkar was definitely 16 when he made his debut in 1989. Made an unbelievable 100 at the Wacker in the 91-92 series. I think that's when we thought how good's he going to be. And that ball from Dupinder Singh was a bit quicker than Rayan Farouk thought, and it hit him on the body. He was looking to lift that through the onside with a pull shot.
It's hurt him.
None for 12 in the 4th over.
Gone are the days when you do not look at it, do not rub the area as well, because you're looking directly in the eye of the opposition to send a statement.
That's not beer, by the way. Now, this is an outside edge, and he's going to get a boundary.
Yeah, not from the region he wanted in the bat.
No.
But it's going to give him the result that he intended to get eventually. That control quotient might have gone down, but the scorecard doesn't differentiate.
Flies away between backward point and Squarey's 3rd man on the offside, but the intention was to try and lift it over the infield on the onside. It doesn't matter how you get them in T20 cricket as long as you get them, and this might become frustrating for Australia. In the 4th over, the figures are none for 16. And Rayan Farouk has 10. Speaking to him in the taxi on the way here, looking forward to playing again after a bit of a break for 6 to 8 weeks from the St Kilda club. And he defends the next delivery. He's also a Collingwood supporter in the AFL, is wearing his Collingwood scarf. I won't hold that against him though. Magpies flying in the AFL round 8 on the weekend. They've won 6 from 7. And they're the comeback kings. I know we're in rugby league territory up here, but there's still 2 pretty good AFL teams, Brisbane and Gold Coast. As
it's good to see that in the second innings, the Pacers have not opted for the cross-seam deliveries. This could be another wicket. It is. It's a simple catch. Ryan Farouk, I think he had enough. He wanted to go for the big shot to break free. Doesn't clear defence.
He never looked comfortable, did he?
Circle.
He looked rusty, I thought, throughout his whole innings, and he holes out into the covers. And it was a stacked offside field and a comfortable catch taken. So it's 1 for 16 in the 4th over.
The first wicket's gone down. It was looking inevitable as the Sultans were troubled. Some gorgeous delivery outside off. And now one that he's completely miscued. Ryan Farouk will make sure that he finds himself back in the hut, 16 for 1.
Look at that beautiful shot. We've just heard from the 3rd umpire.
Thanks.
We've just heard from who's a great historian, from the 3rd umpire, umpired the first match, about Jeff Dimmock being one of 6 players only to take all 11 players in a test match over both innings. And I think that might have been that test match in India where he burst on the scene. He was sort of in and out of the Australian side, and it was the last series that they played before the World Series cricket players came back. He played the first test, he missed the second, he came in for the third, and he took 13 wickets for the match.
Phenomenal.
7 in one innings, 6 in the second. Yeah. Yeah, against New Zealand he took 5 for under blue, yeah.
Sandwich.
He's a great bloke, Jeff Dimmock. He's helped coach my son in cricket with some coaching camps in Melbourne, in Victoria. Very good bowler. He took over 400 wickets for Queensland, 78 test wickets for Australia. But again, he was one of those left-armers, unlike Henry Zeech, who wasn't all that quick.
Go run out coming, mate.
On due command.
1 for 16 after 4 overs. And Azan Saeed has joined Saeem at the crease.
That line, I tell you,
It's
that
a beautiful line, isn't it?
And Zeech has this capacity to bring the ball back into the right-hander. And if he sets him up by making him go for the extravagant drive a couple of times, he'll be more tempted, Henry, to pull that one back in.
He's an exciting young talent, isn't he? Young Henry Zeech. I like him.
I'm told that he's got a lovely bouncer, Henry. And he's not scared to bowl it. 14 deliveries, and look at the runs he's given away.
Well up delivery again. It's punched without any power down to Baker, the captain, at mid-off. And there's no run.
Only the fielders are doing the running into the over.
It's been a good performance, this. McAllister, the wicket-keeper for Australia.
I think it's a very cautious start for Pakistan in Sultans. It's important that they do not go into a shell.
Well, we know the Sri Lankans found it hard, didn't they? But they were batting second, and that's wide of the off stump. Again, he didn't move his feet. He was reaching at that, Saeem, And he's frustrated. Just bowling, beautiful line of length bowling to his field. What do they do here? Do they bowl him out?
I think it's just a matter of time before one skids back in, one is played on. Because that line is something he's gained mastery in, Henry Zeesh. And with someone who has a bouncer as well, I think he can be a handful. But it's also about sequencing the bouncer, isn't it? For 4 deliveries, he hasn't used it. If he leaves it too late, then it becomes obvious.
He's a redhead, and he plays over the top of that one. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Wide of the off stump. My brother's a redhead, or he's gone grey now. And 1 ball remaining in the 5th over. And Saeem 5 off 13, struggling to score. Azan Saeed's only faced the 1 delivery. Rayan Farouk was out for 10.
Last delivery coming up. Can Henry Zeesh produce a maiden? It's something he's done before.
What an amazing 3 overs so far from Henry Zeesh. He bowls again. Square driving. He won't get a maiden. There's only 1 run. Out to one of the 2 fielders allowed out in the first 6 overs in the power play. Square drive, but Saeem keeps the strike, and I think the Australians probably don't mind that because his run rate is at less than 50%. 6 off 14, and it's 1 for 17 after 5 overs.
Ross is 6 off 20. Syed 0 off 1. Syed's 3 over 0 for 2.
So slow start by the Pakistani Sultans. And Azan Saeed. What do we know about him?
Change forward.
Played some cricket with Randwick Petersham, very famous grade club. They were Randwick for a long time on their own, and they joined forces with Petersham, who were Petersham-Marrickville, 2 teams very close to each other. Randwick, the home of John Dyson, 30 tests for Australia. Alan Turner, 14 tests for Australia in the 1970s, one of my favourite cricketers. Used to field it short leg, Suhas. Thanks very much for the coffee. Used to field it short leg, and he was basically on the edge of the pitch with his hands outstretched, waiting for the catch. That's how close he was in the 1970s, and he was the one that...
1970s,
yeah,
less protective gear as well.
Oh, there was no protective gear, and he was the one that unfortunately... Oh, could be a run out here. Have they... yes, there is a run out. It was an absolute mess.
I'll tell you what, it's quite a juggling act.
It was.
Very soon he realized it's going to be him out of all people to collect the ball and whip the bails off. He had accepted the assignment, had to juggle it like a hot potato. Eventually brought it under control. The replay will tell us the true story. It's a sorry ending for another Pakistani Sultan.
Well, we'll have a good look at that, and I'll come back to Alan Turner in just a second. Taylor's coming in, and they're 2 for 17. But what a mess that was. Just a breakdown in communication. It was lucky that the batter had overcommitted. Have a look at this. The bowler, 1-2 juggles, and then just had control of it. And the batter's bat is now only just coming into the picture. Saeem. So he is run out as they went for the run, and that is just suicide. In fact, it's Azan who's run out. Faced 1 delivery. Azan Saeed, and he's been run out. That was a good shot though, wasn't it? That was one of those short arm jabs.
It's that kind of a day for Pakistani Sultans so far. Some of the good shots have gone straight to the fielders, and the problem is that some of the bad ones have also gone straight to the fielders, but those are in the air.
Yes, so Alan Turner was the one that cannoned into Jeff Thompson and broke Tomo's shoulder, the test match in Adelaide against Pakistan. Of a Zahir Abbas skied shot. This is driven on the bounce.
There's a hint of swing, Dan.
Yep.
There's a hint of swing. Just enough to kiss the outside edge. We're not talking about extravagant swing that will miss the bat and look good on television, though. We're talking about a hint of swing. It's a wicket-taking delivery in itself. Saeem is someone who's producing good shots, but he's not clearing the infield. This is a battle within a battle that I am absolutely relishing, and so is everyone watching.
And I think the other thing is, it's a bit like when the Sri Lankans were playing earlier and they were chasing 163, they were getting bogged down and they were making bad decisions about running, hence why there was a second run out. Now that ball's fallen out of the batter's hand then. I wonder if that, the bowler's hand I should say, I wonder if that is a above waist high no ball.
And the dew is completely setting in. No cricket kit
Yeah.
here in Brisbane. Queensland is complete without a towel. No cricket kit is complete without a towel.
That wasn't above waist high, I thought it was. Anyway. 2 for 17. This is the 6th over, another full toss. Driven into the covers. Baker, the captain there for Australia, has got the towel tucked into his shorts, as you can see. So he gets a run, and they needed that.
Ball done.
Format of the game, you have a designated timer on the cricket ball, don't you?
Well, you would, yes.
Now, when the dew is taking effect, is there a designated wiper of the cricket ball as well? Or everyone's got to have a towel?
Oh, I think there's a designated shiner. We've seen it get some players into trouble over the years. Let's not go there. We won't go there.
I was in Australia, you told me.
Yes.
They're giving you the visa. I've told the immigration officer the only reason you're not on commentary is not going to talk about
2
anything
wickets
related to
for
sand.
18.
Correct.
Town 0 off 1.
Yes.
Ross is
6
off
overs later,
25.
18 for 2.
And we're not talking about the soapy days of our lives either. Like sands in the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. 2 for 18 after 6 overs. Jackson Tottenham's opening over. Wasn't a bad one. He had a wide and 1 run from it. But generally not too bad by the young man.
Start the next power play. That's middle.
He's played with Sandgate Redcliffe in 2022-23, 28 matches. This year, 362 runs at 16.45. Highest 51 not out and 13 wickets at 22.46, the best ball for 40. And he's the young man with a mullet. A lot of 17, 18-year-old boys. The mullets have come back into fray. They existed in the 1980s when I was a kid. So they're going to hang on to Zeech to bowl 1 more over at the end. This is Reichert. He bowls, and it's a slower delivery that hits the pad, going down the leg side, and there's no run. Talon Reichert has played 39 matches, taken 50 wickets. His best bowling, 3 for 14. Another young man from Queensland.
On due command. Dot ball.
So Saeem is using up a lot of deliveries. He's facing 7 off 20. Involved in the run out of Azan for a duck. Tala gets beaten by an absolute, well, Tala is it, the non-striker, then Saeem gets beaten by an absolute ripper that just sort of took off and went over the top of the bat. It was an extraordinary delivery by Talon Reichert. And it continued to be straight. It didn't sort of deviate. There wasn't any outswing or any in-swing. It just was right over the top of the bat. Reichert again. And he gets him on the pad, looking to turn on the onside. Busy action from the young man with the mullet. And Saeem continues to use up deliveries.
Saeem's found a new definition for struggle here, 7 of 22, and all that after getting it crisply through covers. It's going to pain a little more. He's still searching for the gap.
It's good bowling by the Australians.
Pakistani Sultans, the idea was to dominate the first 6 overs. That hasn't happened.
Wide of the off stump, and he went to cut, and he played across the top once more. You just start to doubt yourself, don't you, when you're facing so many balls and there's a swing and a miss and you're just not scoring.
Testing time this for Saeem. He's got to believe in himself. He's got to believe that it's all about one shot that will unlock the next level of his. So many times in cricket we've seen when you're going through a rough patch as well, just one innings can turn things around.
Riket bowls, and now he gets the Yorker link ball that he swung the kitchen sink at, and all we can do is just play it to short straight mid. We could hit that so hard, but he basically hit it into the ground and took the pace off it. And this is heading for a maiden over.
Another one.
Excellent bowling by Talon Riket.
The Kangaroos have been phenomenal.
They sure have. You found your notepad. It's an interesting looking notepad.
With a cover blown off.
This is on the leg stump, turned away on the onside. They'll only get one run. Good return by the Australians. Have been tidy in the field early days. Certainly bowling to their field. And just one run from Talon Riket's opening over, which was an excellent one. The young Australian.
One run. Ball done. Hands
And
over.
7 overs gone, and the Pakistan Sultans sent into bat by the Australians. 2 for 19.
Tally 0 off 1. Riders 1 over 0 for 1.
Obviously they think the duel will be worse. Might have been the reason why the Australians made the decision to send the Sultans in. Suhas. Jackson Todman to bowl his second over. He bowled a good opening over, Todman. Just been told again by our man with a wealth of information, the third umpire, that Jackson Todman's father was president of Redlands in the Queensland Premier Cricket Competition.
Ball done.
And there's a wide ball bowled to kick off the over, just a little bit too much swing. 2 for 20, and again Saeem is on strike. Taylor just can't get down there. 8 off 25. Reminds me of the great Greg Shippett, one of the best cricket coaches in Australia. Mind you, in the longer form of the game, would face 7 balls in a row off a number of overs as Todman bowls, and this is pulled away. That's better. That's much better. He picks the gap through mid-wicket to the boundary for 4, just a bit short by young Todman, and he was able to swivel on the back foot and produce a lovely boundary, and that'll break the shackles, you'd hope, for Saeem. Getting a rare boundary takes his team to 2 for 24. Yes, reminds me of Greg Shippett when he used to play Shield cricket, wear 4 jumpers in the heat in Perth and face 7 balls in a row and then get a single off the last ball and keep the strike. This is the way Saeem's going at the moment. Oh yeah, that's the way he used to play. He felt comfortable.
Luckily he doesn't have to bowl, otherwise him taking off 4 jumpers would be half the time required to bowl an over.
Correct. The Indian boys are coming in for a feed just behind us here in the club rooms at Noosa.
They had a phenomenal game.
They did, and Saeem has just tried to swing the next ball away through the onside and indicating he's just out of touch a bit at the moment. The occasional boundaries, he hit it into his toe and didn't score.
Still waiting for one ball that will go for the fence. Look at him access the gap now, but still not getting it. Good slower delivery as well from Jackson Todman, who's watching the bat until the last moment. If he can pin through the struggling time, if he can go through the struggling times of this kind, I think Simon's in for a good knock. If 12 of 28 is going to reflect the 24 for 2 on the board, then it just tells you that he's actually a very shrewd cricketer who's buying his time and playing out the main bowlers.
Well, this again fell out of the hand, I reckon, because of the dew. Baker, a great piece of fielding, leading by example in the covers. He cut off some certain runs then. And once more, that ball's fallen out of the hand of Jackson Todman. Consecutive overs, that's happened.
The loose balls are not being put away.
No, they're not.
And then there is Baker, who's flying left, right and centre.
Leading by example, the Australian captain. 2 balls remaining in the 8th over. And Teller, who's been down the non-strikers end for a couple of overs now, must be thinking, when do I get a crack at this? Oh, he's got the French cut. He nearly played that on. He is living dangerously. Saeem, he's hit a boundary, and Jackson Todman, did he walk under a ladder? That's how much luck has eluded him there.
Not convincing, but we'll take it. Something had to give. You could sense that it was brewing. This contest was brewing. Jackson Todman cannot believe it. Neither can the batter, but both of them are having a different sigh of relief.
Well, they'll take it, won't they?
I'll tell you what, Saim getting it crisply from the middle of the bat is going straight to the fielders. The toe end has produced more runs.
And now
this
that's better.
is the shot he was waiting for. That's pure class and commitment to the side. If it's there in the slot, he'll still go for it. And for once, Saim believes the form is back with him.
Well, he hit a lovely boundary earlier in the over from a pull shot too along the ground in front of square, but that's his best shot so far as he lifts it over the infield, over mid-wicket for 6. Magnificent shot. One of the shots of the day so far, and we've seen a fair bit of cricket. You've seen more than me, of course, Suhas, but that was a great shot. Finally, maybe the shackles are broken.
This format perhaps, yes, otherwise definitely no. What a shot. Saim, he treated the pacer like a spinner. Special talent, Saim. 22 of 31 Sunday doesn't look as bad. Remember, it's a rebuilding phase as well for them after losing 2 early wickets. Now with more fielders outside the 30-yard circle.
Now this is Tala, who
compared to the first 6 overs. Still he's gone for that shot and he's got 6. It's not daily that you get a 6 over square leg, do you? And that's just sitting down on one knee to a pacer. Dan, I'm telling you, he's someone who's batting in a different dimension altogether. He's treating the pacers like a spinner by getting into good positions early. And if you can do that, you're creating doubts in the mind of the opposition captain as well.
So you think he's playing pretty well?
I still believe he's playing pretty well. It's about one shot that'll get him into the zone, and Saim is in the zone. 22 of 31. That was cracked from the middle of the bat. It's not a two-wind that's got him a boundary.
No, you take that every day of the week, and he, as I said, played a lovely pull shot along the ground earlier in the over as well. Now this is Talon Reichert, who's been very, very miserly so far. Talar's been at the other end. That kept along the ground. There's been a few that have kept a bit low. We saw that in the first match as well.
Just sometimes, Dan, are you wondering as well, when you celebrate a delivery like this, we're going to bat there too?
Well, that's right. Australians have still got to go in. I mean, they've taken, I reckon, a risk by sending the opposition in, but I can probably understand they think the ball will get dewy, it'll be harder to handle, but then again, runs on the board I always think are important. Anyway, we'll see what happens. There's Reichert. Just none for one, and a good short of a length ball that's defended back to the bowler by Talar, who needs some time to get in. He spent 2 overs at the non-striker's end as Saim had monopolised the strike.
So far, so good for Talon. And someone needs to walk up to Talon and tell him that conceding a run's not a crime. Because some of the deliveries that he's bowled, it's a run-saving deliveries. We would want the wicket-taking deliveries for them to go for the kill. Because 34 for 2 and 8.3, you've done a decent job already as a bowling unit. Now that one had a bit more venom.
It did, and he hit that into his helmet.
Not intended to, but still it finds the helmet. That
he's okay.
That grill would be as hot as the barbecues now. Terrific. Extra bit of bounce.
Good bowling, isn't it?
One ball's not bouncing as much, the other one's bouncing a little more than expected.
But his pace doesn't seem to change, but he's right on the money. Talon Reichert, he's conceded 1 run from 10 deliveries so far. He's had 9 dot balls. I mean, we saw the captain of the Indians today bowl 16 dot balls in his 4 overs. Hence why he got 2 for 9. This is swung away by Talar, and he's picked the gap. That was just a little bit wayward on the leg stump. And when they're hitting boundaries, the Pakistanis, the Sultans, and they're starting to swing into action at 2 for 38 in the 9th over. Beautiful boundary.
Beautiful shot indeed.
Lifted it.
Good pickup shot.
Forward of square. Yep.
Good pickup shot. And it's something that he needed as well. Talha spent a lot of time in the non-strikers end. Now it's going well at the business end of it too. 4 dot deliveries and 1 poor delivery put away. It's good to see Pakistani Sultans not getting into their shell. They're waiting for the right deliveries to be put away.
Driven nicely.
But can't get it past anyone on the offside, it seems. It's a wall on the offside. What an over this has turned out to be for Talon as well. 38 for 2.
Oh, beautifully, isn't he? Still think they're obviously going all right, the Pakistani Sultans. I know they've lost 2 wickets, but they shouldn't be too disappointed. I know the run out of Saeed was unnecessary, and I think that might have been Saeed just panicking a bit. Ben Baker, I think, might be coming into bowl, the captain. He and Hurd, the vice-captain. David and Goliath there. He's only a little bloke, Ben Baker. And Hurd a lot taller. He's getting ready to bowl now. The Australian captain in the 10th over with the score of 2 for 38. And the man umpiring was the man that was the third umpire sitting next to us in the first game today, won by the Indian Lions by 42 runs, the Indian Tigers by 42 runs over the Sri Lankan Lions. Got my animals wrong, which you can see out, of course, at the Australian Zoo, the home of the Irwin kids and grandkids.
Luckily you are in the zookeepers, otherwise one of the wildcats is going hungry.
The kangaroos!
Oh, you wouldn't have me anywhere near them, to be honest. Oh, Baker bowls a no ball.
Spinner bowling a no ball is a cardinal sin. And what
front foot no ball? There's been a few of those, hasn't there? So we get a free hit again. Both teams have had a few issues with front foot no balls. In fact, all teams. 3 teams, I should say.
It's a curse that continues.
Another
again.
one. He's bowled 2 in a row, and that was a free hit. So we get another free hit. He hasn't bowled a legitimate ball yet. Ben Baker.
Another dot, we'll get another dot off this one.
Ben Baker's
2 for
got
40.
to shift his bowling from the extras column. He's
Never
bowling-
seen that before.
Yeah.
Swinging across the line. That's a great cricket shot. He went across the stumps to the offside and swung fluently through the onside. That's a great shot.
Love the fact that Saeem had already picked this spot.
Yeah.
And he's hit it as if he would have played the shot had it not been a free hit as well. Marvellous striking this.
This might go down as one of the great innings.
You never know, because this involves a fight back. This involves a period of stay where he had to believe in himself. 26 or 34 doesn't look as bad.
Wide of the off stump, and he leans into this and he works it away down towards third man. It'll be collected and they come back for 2. Good return, well taken by McAllister over the stumps, and Saeem stretches and stretches well to make his ground.
All good, lads. One score, shot, score.
It's a lovely innings this. Beautiful touch there with the late cut. 28 off 35. Here's Baker again.
Oh, good ball.
Yeah.
And
Bit of
good
flight.
ball so many times. When he bowls that delivery, he's also looking back at the umpire if his arm is sticking out.
Yes. So he's lost a bit of confidence, hasn't he?
So good for us, they're so good for us.
He's able to deliver the beauties of that kind.
It's good bowling.
Oh, good one. So good.
Bowling.
The off stumps, a thing of pass.
Oh.
Baker's made sure that it's just one more delivery in his allotted overs. And he's not reacting as if he's produced a beauty.
That's a peach. I mean, it was like matter of fact, right through him. What a great delivery that was. He yorked himself and it went through him. What a delivery.
All in a day's play. That's what he's saying. It's been
big wicket.
It's a big wicket for sure. It's been that kind of an innings where he's found his form and has lost it as well. One good delivery had a name, Saeem, written on it. 46 for 2.
You take 28 off 36 though every day of the week. It's not a bad innings.
In T20 terms, perhaps
Yeah.
he would have wanted to be better. But before he could start the cover-up for the next session, he's lost his wicket. Hasnain will now join Tala.
Yes, he's the new batter. Hasnain Sikandar played for Mount Pritchard Southern District's 5th grade in the grand final, and he made 29 in the win. So from New South Wales, where a lot of these players are based.
Good going. Okay. Two to come, batter.
Baker with a wicket. 2 front foot no balls, a 4, a 2, dot ball wicket. Licorice all sorts over this from Ben Baker. 3 for 46. 2 balls remaining in the 10th. Wide of the off stump. Driven fluently. That's an outstanding stuff by Hasnain. And they'll come back for 2.
1 run.
Or did he just get 1? Only 1. I thought they came back for 2. 3 for 47 near the end of the 10th over. Been a long over. Talar on 4. Ready for Baker again. Oh, it's a misfield to backward pointers. It's worked away. Luckily there's support out the deep, but deep cover. So the first error from the Australians.
2 runs.
And 2 runs come to Talar to complete the over.
3 wickets for
10
And
overs
that,
gone.
interesting over that one. 3 for 47, 3 for 49 after 10. He got a wicket, but there were 2 front foot no balls at the start. Sahas.
At the halfway stage, Pakistani Sultans 49 for 3, and that with that, there's news coming in that the ball is going to be changed.
change ball.
That cricket ball is looking like a bar of soap.
Player 0.
Well, you would think if they're changing it at 10 overs, does that mean that the Pakistani or the Sultans will get the same opportunity to have the ball changed at 10 overs in their innings?
No, they're changing it after 10 overs, not because it's the halfway stage and it's a good point of infliction. They are changing it because the ball is super wet. And the ball's skidding and keeping low at times. It's bouncing a little more at
Right.
times.
I understand that, but do you think that if we're in the same situation at 10 overs, that it'll happen again? Or that Pakistan will be
I
afforded
think
the
10
right?
overs, 10
Yeah.
overs is not the operative time here, but any time when the umpire feels in between the over that the ball is doing a bit much because of the dew, at the end of the over he might ask for a change. That might be at the end of 8 overs as well. You never know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Done.
No, I was just saying, like horses for courses a bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. Harley Malpass is in the attack now for the Australians. He's played 30 matches this season, made 893 runs in all forms, 42.52. He'll obviously be a key with the bat, highest 116 not out. Beaten outside the off stump. Good bowling. 23 wickets at 20.61, the best figures are 4 for 34. And we've spoken about Ben Baker. He played for Maroochydore Blue mainly this year, just up the road, so he knows this ground well. 303 runs this season at 23.31, a highest of 38, and 36 wickets at 15. Best 3 for 25. Harley Malpass, the full toss again, which is played down the ground in awkward fashion. It got the top part of the bat, the splice of the bat, from Talar. Again, that probably fell out of the hand, even though it's a new ball. And it's 3 for 51 in the 11th over, the Sultans. Hasnain 2, Talar 7. And 28 from Saeed, the highest scorer so far. Azad was run out for 1. Saeed run out for none, I should say, off 1 delivery. And Farouk was out for 10. Oh, that's a full toss. It's driven fluently through the covers, and that goes to the boundary for 4. Ben Baker was very, very quick, and he nearly ran that down. That's how quick he is. But we know how quick the outfield is despite the dew. And that's an outstanding cricket shot by Hasnain of Pakistan. One of the shots of the day as he pierces the gap. And he's a solidly built individual for a young man of 18. He's well built. And he's got 6 off 3 with a strike rate of 200. 3 for 55. Is this the over where the Sultans might start to launch? Malpass. Ooh, good delivery. Yes.
Dot ball. 1 ball to come.
He looks capable, doesn't he? Hasnain Suhas of hitting a big ball.
Sikandar 6 off 5. Talha 7 off 10. Malpass 1 over 0 for 6. 1 ball to come.
And Malpass looks quite capable of knocking the off stump out.
Oh, no doubt.
This is going to be another interesting battle. Hasnain, who's got 6 or 4.
Some tall boys, the Australians.
Ooh,
That's a good delivery, and that cut back in, didn't it? looking to swing through the onside. If they stay hit, they'll be out of the ground. They will clear the picket fences and probably go onto the road here at Noosa.
It's a slightly newer ball, comparatively newer ball, because it's been changed after the end of 10 overs. So it's not going to skid as much, but on that occasion it did skid. 55 for 3. Staines going for the cross-batted shot. I still believe if he goes with a straight-batted attempt, he will be getting the runs, because it's still early in his innings. ACL is his brainchild.
The great man, Harry. He's happy. The whole family's up. I saw his lovely wife before. Very lovely lady. Here's Baker again.
Marvellous.
He's a good fielder, isn't he? Fielding off his own bowling. He nearly stopped that boundary before, that beautiful cover drive.
Dan, as we discussed,
This is us,
any bowler
boys.
is a good fielder of his own bowling.
Oh, I just think...
These two fielders masquerading in one. And that towel, I think the towel needs a change as much as the ball does. It's soaking wet. Next time, our umpire will walk out with a list of balls, of course, in a box, and a lot of towels as well. The towel needs a change.
Well, look at his top. It needs a change too. So he didn't change the ball. Didn't change the ball. 3 for 55 in the 12th over. The third umpire right next to us, confirming they didn't change the balls. This is flung away, but that could have been a great boundary, but there's protection out at deep cover.
1 run.
It was a great cricket shot for 1 run.
So good here. Good here, Benny. Good from you.
3 for 59 in the 12th over. Baker's been expensive, but he's got a wicket. The big wicket of Saeem in his last over. And again, a good piece of fielding off his own bowling again as he comes across the wicket.
You have to go aerial here.
Today.
Oh,
Then what?
Can't get to
Incredible
us, so you gotta go in
from
the air
Baker.
here.
And when you see your captain do so well, it rubs off on all the other players as well, that this is a standard that we're setting for the side. And if he can do it, you better follow.
Baker in again.
There.
And a full toss that slammed down the ground across the line by Hasnain, who had to reach for that. That was an interesting cricket shot. He did well to sort of roll the wrists, play it low on the bat, on the handle of the bat, to keep it along the ground. But I still reckon if he gets onto some, they'll be out of the ground.
Baker, 2 runs is given away. Inside out, that's a beautiful shot. It's going to go for 4 as well. Talha to the rescue.
Lovely shot that.
End of over 11. 3 wickets for 61.
It's a hard shot to execute, isn't it, I reckon?
Sickener 7 off 7.
The ball's not turning at all.
1 for 17.
It becomes a very innocuous delivery. It's there on the wide line as well, just floating thereabouts. 6 runs on the over. 61 for 3.
So 12 overs. Thought there might have been 1 more to go, but no, we've got all under control. Projected score says 103, but they've only lost 3 wickets, so I reckon they can really get going here. I want to see Big Hussain go. He'll face Malpass bowling his second over. Oh, it dropped! At point, it was a great effort. It was flying like a meteor. It would have been one of the great catches if it had have stuck. Wonderful effort at points, and that was hit hard. Let's have a look at this again.
Full marks for the belief. And wow, what an attempt.
Oh, it was a great attempt.
Isn't that a shame that he's only got a jersey and not a jetpack?
He flew a mile to try and hang on to that because that was hit hard. He only got 1 run for it, Hussain.
That's a knuckleball that he didn't execute well.
And
despite the drive, it's going to go for 4. It became a comfortable height full toss. And Hasnain is not going to waste any time.
in fact, he got 2 and now he got a boundary. Yeah, it was. Didn't quite come off. attempt to try and stop in the outfield, but it just got away. It was hit too hard. This is what I'm saying. I just reckon we're about to see fireworks from its name. They've got enough wickets left, and if the Australians don't get the ball in the right area, Hasnain could make them pay. This is the Yorker length ball that he manages to keep out, playing to the offside, and there's no run.
Dot ball.
And Zanis was the one that almost took that spectacular catch at point. We're in the 13th over, 3 for 67. He hits this in the air now. Has he got enough on it? No, great catch. He's a good fielder, this man Baker, isn't he, at mid-off. Excellent catch. Backtracking. That again was hit pretty hard, but Hasnain perishes for 13. The Australians will be relieved because, as I've said a few times, he was on the march and ready to take it to the Australian bowlers. But what they've been good at is getting wickets at the right time.
Good slower delivery. And what a good catch under pressure by the captain himself, Baker. The ball might be a bar of soap, but he has got hold of it.
He's an outstanding fielder, Baker. A lot resting on the shoulders of Talla now. When he has had the strike, which hasn't been a lot, he's played some lovely boundaries. And Essa is the new batter for the Sultans.
Middle.
And I'll get next up as well, please.
Next up. Right arm over, 2 to come.
He played 5th grade for the North Sydney Bears in the Premier Cricket competition in Sydney. Very famous sporting team. Played in the final against Blacktown Mounties. He made a duck in the final, but they won, and he bowled tidily. 10 overs, none for 14. Issa Omar, 4 for 67. 2 balls left in the 13th over. Close to the body. It's pushed into the offside, and there's no run.
1 ball to come.
It's been okay, Melpass. 1 for 12. All the Australian bowlers are doing their job. Melpass bowls, and again swinging hard but not really connecting to a good delivery again. Right in the block hole by Melpass was Issa. And 4 for 67 after 13 overs. 7 overs to go. Still got plenty of wickets left here. A lot, I think, as I said earlier, resting on the shoulders of Talla. Mohammed Talla.
Change bowler.
And the Australians are making another change. He started ingloriously. Did Deepinder Singh with a couple of front foot no balls, and we've seen a bit of that tonight. Ben Baker, despite his excellence in the field, started with a couple of front foot no balls, but did get a wicket. We saw the Sri Lankans overstep. We saw the Indians overstep in the earlier match today, of which the Indians won comprehensively by 42 runs. So Jackson Todman's with Sandgate Redcliffe, as I mentioned, and Deepinder Singh is with Wests in Brisbane. A couple of famous Premier Cricket clubs. I think Sandgate was where Martin Kent plied his trade before a back injury ended his career at the age of 28. Here's Deepinder Singh. This is a full toss that fell out of his hand, that swung away high and handsomely for 6 over forward square leg. Again, I don't think he got that right in the meat of the bat. He's only a little man, but he got enough of it.
The height as well made it even more comfortable. Oh, what a shot. I think the idea was not to hit it hard at all. He just accepted it onto the bat. He trusts that he's got the power to clear the fence, and he did on that occasion.
Deceptively strong, isn't he? 18 of 16, so he's going at more than 100% with the strike rate, Taylor, and all his runs, 3 boundaries and a 6. 4 scoring shots.
For someone who spent a lot of time at the non-strikers end, now it's time for him to tell the world, watch me go.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is where he belongs. Beautiful.
Into the covers. Baker is there. He said, I'm not going on Ben Baker. He's the best fielder in the team, I think.
Just wonder if you need to be awarded twice the runs that you require if it goes to Baker and you're able to clear him. He is phenomenal. And that's because he worked on his fitness.
And I think he works on his fielding too. He just hasn't put a foot wrong. Very quick too. Depinder Singh in again. And this is in the air, but he hasn't got much of it. He should be caught. Is caught by that man Baker. What a catch. He tried to get that on the onside. It took a leading edge. And Baker has lunged forward from the covers and taken a ripper. Ben Baker, you're a star.
Tala's got to depart. And now Pakistani Sultans are in trouble because one man who's set is back in the hut. Two new men are going to be in the middle. Depinder Singh, when he gets it right, this is what happens. Oh, didn't get anywhere from the middle of the bat, but a flying Baker would put a full stop to Talha's innings. Once again, he didn't even hit towards Baker, but Baker still finds the ball. Talha, a disappointing end to his innings, 73 for 5.
See, I'm not sure that anyone else would have got to that, with the greatest respect to the rest of the Australian team. He's just a brilliant fielder, never say die. And that's why he's sort of in a catching position on the offside in the covers, short cover almost.
Baker is a jaunty and a David Warner put together.
He is. 53. And going way back, Paul Sheehan, Ross Edwards, Viv Richards, Rowan Canai, some great fielders.
Middle. 30 centre stop.
Derek Randall, David Gower, the list goes on.
Just run him over and it's 3 to come. 3.
I think you need another coffee, great man.
You took mine.
No, you've had yours. It was one each, wasn't it?
There was nothing in it. It was a paper cup, that's it. Oh, that was going for the run. That run would have been suicidal.
Ball मेरी है.
1 run.
No, mine's been sitting here.
Next stop.
Next time, just away from you, sir.
Yeah, I know it's leaking.
Next
Yeah, I know.
stop.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Run him over, it's 2 to come.
Big square, please. Jump behind square.
I'm sorry, I've taken the great man's coffee. I'll have to buy him one.
Quite happy if you're going to buy me one at Byron Bay. 7 runs.
It's 4 hours away, apparently.
7 runs.
How are we going to get
And
there?
Harry's car.
And get back in time. We've got 2 games tomorrow, 2 games on Saturday, which I'm looking forward to, and the final on Sunday.
1 leg butt. Ball down.
Pakistan setting themselves up nicely. I know there's still a lot of cricket to be played, but they were good today. 5 for 75 in the 14th over. I'm a bad man, I'm sorry. Ayan 1 on strike, the new batter. Issa on 3, Depinder Singh, 2 for 22. And yet another example of where the ball takes off a bit and hits the batter on the helmet. Let's just see if it ricocheted from the bat onto the helmet.
Ball done. End of over 13.
No, I don't think it hit the bat. I think that was a bit too quick for him. 76 for 5. No, it's been called a leg by. And 14 overs gone, so 6 left. And at the moment, the projected score is 109, which even with the dewy conditions, I don't think will be enough. As Reichert comes back in. He's bowled 2 terrific overs. Boy with the mullet. Did you have hair like that when you were younger, Suhas?
Not even when I was younger. In our schools, I tell you what, in our schools in India, you're not allowed to.
No, a lot of schools are like that.
Such wonderful hair, which I don't know for some reason a rule. and I had enough reasons to be a person who's standing out anyways in the assembly. Not an outstanding kid, but a kid who's standing out in punishment.
5 for 76, 6 overs remaining. Talon Reichert to bowl the 3rd over of his spell.
So far, so good for Talon. He's not the most likely to pick up a wicket as well, but what he's done is a great supporting act. The wickets column hasn't ticked for Reichert yet, but I'm using the word yet because he is phenomenal with his change-ups.
Well, he slowed it down, hasn't he?
Ayan from Sydney.
That's a wide, a rare, poor delivery, and he sort of practices what went wrong there.
1 by.
76 for 5 in the Pakistani Sultans. And the good news for
1 by.
the Australian Kangaroos is that there are 2 new men out there at a time when the launch pad has to be created.
Wide ball. Ball done.
Talent.
And this is down the ground by Ayan. Has he got enough of it? No, he hasn't. Lunging forward and taking the catch. Or did he not quite get there?
1 run.
No, he didn't quite get there. I thought the catch might have been taken. He lunged at mid-wicket. By the length and also by the change-up, and it just got away from the fielder between mid-wicket and Whitish long on. 5 for 78 in the 15th. This time Issa can only defend back to the bowler as he changes his pace once more and bowls right on the spot. He's been sensational, the young man, with the long hair.
Next one.
Very impressed by Talon.
Oh, he's been great, Talon Reichert. All the bowlers have been pretty good though.
Yeah, the Pacers have found a different template, a different syllabus was handed out to them to bowl, it seems like, because the Pacers in the first game were very different. They were not even concentrating on producing the extra yard of pace, they were concentrating only on the line and lane.
India bowled a fair bit of spin. Sri Lanka bowled a fair bit of spin. We haven't seen too much from the Australians, just Ben Baker. And that's sort of a hybrid mixture of slow, medium pace and spin, isn't it?
Yeah, Baker has actually created more impact with the ball in hand when he's fielding, not with the ball in hand when he's bowling.
No, correct. He's got 1 wicket though. Reichert searching for his first, but just doing the job by getting a lot of dot balls. Peel for LBW, that's hit on the pad, and hit on the pad, full bunger out.
Would you believe it? Again, a cross-banded shot, which has been completely missed. Talon Reichert, who is looking good to pick up a wicket, has eventually done so. This is a grave error. He could have gone with a straighter bat and still been there.
I think that if it didn't...
It's a full toss and it's missed.
Yeah, if it didn't hit him on the pads, on the full, it might have nearly been, it could have been touch and go because he came across his stumps, but because it hit him on the pads on the full, you've really got to give that, don't you? 6 for 78 in the 15th over. Wow. 1 for 7, 1 ball remaining for Talon Reichert. And the way he's going, he might be in contention for man of the match.
He's got 1 more over up his sleeve after this one. And I'll be very interested in seeing how Baker uses him. Does he want to use him immediately for the 17th over?
Saif Raza to join Ayan.
Ayan would have decided now that it's important for him to play his natural game. 78 for 6 Pakistani
What's your number?
Sultans.
Number
80.
Last delivery. No, would have missed leg stump by a mile. But still, may not been a bit. It's just one of the most powerful things that the Pacers do in their mind.
End of over 14.
He followed him, didn't he?
6 wickets for
Like it.
79.
But the appeal, sometimes they think it's their birthright. 15 overs gone, 39 for 6.
What's the old saying? If you don't ask, you never know.
True.
Change bowler. Player 06.
Australia Fraser and AN at the crease.
Can you drop, please?
Oi.
Another one of the big boys coming in.
Plant the two in here, we'll give one in there. You can stay up, stay up.
I am.
Matthew
A
Holmes.
bit more on the rope. Harry, a bit more on the rope. I'm happy you can have one. Dig, just a couple off. Just a couple. I'm happy for that.
You need one more, Benny.
His career performances, 67 matches, averages 51.5, strike rate of 175, high 71 not out. He obviously will be an important bat in this Australian side. 26 wickets, average 23, his best figures are 3 for 10. Big man. Medium pace, and he's on the move and getting a delivery that all Saif Razak could do was fend back to the bowler.
Ollie.
That's good bowling, isn't it? Continuing on where the other bowlers have left off. Bowling to your field, being very disciplined, doing your job, understanding what the role is, and your first ball's right on the spot for Matthew Holmes. Saif Raza attempts to swing the next one, which goes over the top of middle stump as he came across and stumps to the offside. Shifting in his crease. And outside some big blows by Saeem. And Tala, they just haven't hit enough boundaries. Or hit them over the boat either. That's a slower delivery, which is a clever slower ball that lands inside the lines. And another drop ball. So 3 in a row for Matthew Holmes. That's been one of the most impressive aspects of this Australian team with the bowling, the way that they've managed to have a lot of dot balls, and the Indians did the same in their big win over the Lankan Lions.
It's the spinners who set it up for them. It's the pacers who set it up for the Australian Kangaroos.
Correct.
Good bat. Pakistani Sultans.
Right from you here, Holmesy.
They might come
1
up.
run.
Correct.
Ball done. 2 balls to come.
Well, Sahel, their coach, is an eternal optimist. So he will say we've got runs on the board. Here's Holmes again. Attempted full toss, it swung around the corner, and the fielding's been great too. That was a great piece of fielding. That ball was travelling despite it being a bit dewy on the surface here at Noosa. Another run on the board. Still got a few wickets left in the shed, but they need to really start getting a wriggle on, because the current run rate's only 5.1. The projected score would only be just over 100. This is on the leg stump, and it's not called a leg side wide because the batter had moved in his crease and had exposed the leg stump up.
Mazur 3 off 5. Holmes 1 over 0 for 2.
No, but he'd moved to the off stump, had exposed the stumps, which meant that because he'd moved in the crease, if he had stayed where he was and been covering all stumps, where he was taking the stance, and the ball had gone down the leg stump.
Player 04.
I'm having a conversation with Suhas off the air at the moment. He thinks that it should have been a leg side wide. And yes, it was angled on the leg stump, but the batter, my understanding, had moved across his stumps to the off stump.
The off stump, yes, but not the leg stump, right? So the box becomes slightly bigger when you move towards the off. But the leg side wide line, that still remains the same, isn't it?
But if he had stayed where he was,
then it would have been a wide anyways.
correct. This is played into the offside.
Dot ball.
So good from you there.
I was made it on you.
All I say, lads, all I say.
We're eating well here at the cricket. Thanks, guys. 6 for 81. Henry Zeitz is back in the attack. He's been a star. None for 2 from 3. This is a short delivery that's pulled around the corner. And he had a couple of fumbles, but he eventually grabs it. Like it.
1 run.
And he handled that okay to take it to 6 for 82 in the 17th over. Ian brings Saif Raza back on strike to Zeitz, who's been one of the stars. What a performance that is.
Absolutely brilliant.
None for 3. 4 balls remaining in the 4th over. 6 for 82 in the 17th. He tries a reverse or switch hit, I should say, and it almost castles him. But he was outside the line and it hit him on the pad. Let's have a look at that extraordinary attempt at a shot.
Came out of the blue, was moving so late, but Henry stuck to his plan.
He did.
Very unfazed by all that the batter has to do. It's a great attribute to have.
He's just hit his spot every time, isn't he?
Yeah. And just trusted the
Bowl,
process
yeah.
and the preparation.
Bowl well up. I mean, you've nearly got to look at him for man of the match if he doesn't get too many more runs off the last 3 balls. And this is short and in the air. He deserves a wicket if one is going to come his way. It's dropped. It's dropped at backward point, unfortunately. And he'd be disappointed with that because he deserved a wicket each more than anyone. And it got a top edge. It was a delivery that was short. He didn't have control of it whatsoever, Ayan. And it flung away to backward point. Zanis, the fielder, got there. And he was going with the flight. He couldn't quite hang on. In the end, he just misjudged it a bit. He had to go with outstretched hands, as you can see on the replay. 6 for 85. 2 balls remaining in the 17th. He got 2 runs to add insult to injury for Zeitz.
And still just 4 runs at the over. Still, after all that drama, just 4 runs at the over. And that length is helping Henry. It's so heartwarming to watch when someone can bowl that length and trouble the batters. In an era where Yorkers have become predominant, the back of the length still holds true to be a massive delivery in the context of the game.
He's got the right idea, Ayan. He knows that if it's short of a length, it's in the swinging arc for him to try and get it through the onside. But to me, he's probably not quite good enough to be able to get bat on ball because the bowling's too quick.
I think it was a slower one. On that occasion, it was a slower one that beat him. Ayan was prepared for the quicker.
Yeah, that's true too.
Now that you've pushed him on the back foot, is he going to try and make him drive this ball? No, in fact, he is going to make him duck even further. And that's going to be a cause of problems. No ball signals. Henry, what have you done? The over was going well.
No ball.
It's also going to be a free hit.
Ball done. 1 ball to come.
Aren't you allowed 1 though? But you're allowed 1 shorty.
Second one.
That was the second one, was it?
The previous one was deemed short for Ayan.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Any ball that you make the batter sniff is short enough, Dan.
Hit it. Easy now.
Direct hit. Don't know if it was a necessity, but it's a statement sent to the opposition that the runs are not freebies.
Well, it was a fumble too, which at the end of the day,
6 wickets for 87.
they were safe.
17 overs later, 87 for 6.
None for 7 from 4 overs. What a performance that is.
It was a slip, rare slip. Otherwise, a direct hit like that could have made more troubles for Pakistani Sultans.
They've just struggled to get going, haven't they, the Sultans? Well, AN 7 off 11, Raza 1 off 7. Henry Zeech a star, none for 7, and most of the Australian bowlers have done a great job. Matthew Holmes bowled a good opening over. Gee, they built them big up here, don't they? They're big boys, these Australians. Fubil must be big at home too. Here's Holmes, none for 2 from his opening over, was a fine start. 3 overs remaining, and the Pakistanis battling to get a decent score here. Current run rate just 5.12. So this is flung away by Ayan and safe.
Easy.
He gets 1 run, he took the pace off that, realising there was a fielder out at the deep mid wicket.
See that ramp shot, eh? Come on, boys.
And it's 6 for 88. So if they get 100, is it going to be enough? Interesting to see their bowlers. Haven't seen them yet, of course. Holmes in. And Phil for LBW. That's out. He came right across his stumps and got him pretty plumb adjacent. And that is another wicket. 7 for 88. Again, he came across his stumps. Sayef Raza had all sorts of trouble getting bat on ball. And good bowling by Matthew Holmes. And he joins the wicket takers for the Australian team. And they're now 7 for 88 in the 18th over.
Twice, now look at this, first couldn't survive the LBW and then tried to survive the run out as well. 88 for 7, Pakistani Sultans. Matthew Holmes picks up a wicket.
This is what I call a magnificent team bowling performance by the Australians. They've squeezed the life out of the opposition, especially Zeech and Reichert. Reichert's taken 1 wicket. Baker was a bit expensive with his spinners, hybrid spin bowling. Mainly they've used the medium paces. Pinder Singh had his issues with no balls early, but has fought back well. And except for the 28 from Saeem, which was a slow burn, and 18 from Talar, it's been a real battle for the Sultans to score runs. And we're in the 18th over now. Matthew Holmes to bowl to Afzal Ahmed. He gets bowled, magnificent delivery. He's on a hat-trick, Holmes, right through him. What a ball that was, looking to flick it through the onside. And it was straight and too good for him. And Matthew Holmes is on a hat-trick.
The first ball tucked for Afzal. Very good delivery.
8 for 88.
Targeting the base of the stumps and trying to ball straight. Marvellous. That angle did the trick. He went up thinking that he's got to go for the appeal. The umpire said no need. The stumps are strewn. Afzal departs without troubling the scorers. Matthew Holmes on a hat-trick.
They bowled well up, full and straight, and just made it impossible for the Pakistanis.
Simple as that. And Pakistani Sultans now run the danger of being bundled out. It's important for them to play their allotted 20 overs to try and elongate this innings, try and get every single run possible, because even the psychological total of 100 seems to be a little far away, given that they've got only 2 wickets in hand. And they've, every time a batter has come out to bat, it's looked that he's more probable of getting out than scoring runs. I don't know why. And one pacer after the other. Relentless from Australian Kangaroos.
Another one of the young Pakistanis I shared a taxi with from the airport today, from Melbourne, from the Footscray Club. Hat-trick for Matthew Holmes. The hat-trick ball. Bowl to Abdul, slow one, beats him outside the off stump. That wasn't far away. Great bowling by Holmes. He's mesmerising here. Almost got a hat trick. Completely beat Abdul with an absolute ripper. Another one of those off-pace deliveries that didn't miss the outside edge by too much. 8 for 88. And you're right, Suhas. They're in grave danger of being bowled out for under 100. Holmes 3 for 2. Man of the match performance list at the moment. Bowls him 3 wickets in 4 balls. Another slow one looking to swing across the line. Completely deceived. Matthew Holmes on fire.
This is incredible. He's just keeping it straight and simple. And sometimes the most innocuous can look like a magic trick if you're trying too hard. Why did he have to go for the cross-batted shot again? It's a slower delivery that's got the better of the batter.
Figures of 3 for 3. I said 3 for 2, and that would have, the ball before, and that would have been, of course, English and New Zealand and what they say in India. It was 2 for 3. He's now got 3 for 3. 1 ball to go, and it's 9 for 88. Can he get 4 wickets in 5 balls? And just about put his name on the man of the match. Unless, of course, the Pakistanis produced one of the best bowling performances ever in defending this paltry total at the moment. And Ayan, he's stranded at the non-striker's end.
That's off stump, sir.
That shot is something that will need a bit of explaining to the coach.
Oh, well, it was a slow ball, and he just had to get bat on ball and swing across the line. He's a
But
tail
why
ender, remember.
across the line? Why across the line is the question, Dan. When the team is in the danger of being bundled out. Yeah, much better. You might not get into the middle of the bat, but you're also saving yourself from becoming a candidate for LBW if you're playing with a straight bat. Straight bat.
Toe ender. But what an over that was. Matthew Holmes take a bow. 3 for 3. 3 wickets in 4 balls. And then he finishes now with 3 for 4. 2 overs. He should get 1 more over if required. And then 9 for 89. What a performance this has been by the Australians after 18 overs. Ayan is there. His intent is he's trying to hit across the line. And Reichert will bowl 1 more over. And he's been another star for the Australians. 1 for 7 off 3. Zeech, none for 7 off 4.
Yep, centre there.
And it has been one of the great performances this by the Australian team. Polished effort by Nathan Reardon's under-19 side. Looking to get on the board in the first match.
Upside and Ayan, both of them need to have the idea clear that Talon is not going to leave any stone unturned in making sure that the stumps are knocked out. Keep it out.
He's from the Bankstown Cricket Association, Absar, as he faces a wide delivery.
This is what I'm talking about. If you survive, then these runs will also come in. The extras. You can eke out the mistakes out of frustration from the opposition. And I'm very surprised that Talon's trying too much. All he needs to do is target the stumps.
As I say, from the Bankstown Cricket Association, 64 career matches, 533 runs, a batting average of 17.19. A little bit of a skip in that run up for Reichert. This is down the ground. Has it cleared? It has. He's clubbed that through mid-off. Goes to the boundary for 4. Now that's a beautiful shot by Absar.
Cross-seam delivery.
Yep, it was.
And just put that away because he got the room to free his arms. And looks like he's got the license to free his arms as well. Once again, the straighter bat is yielding runs. The cross bat is yielding more risk than runs.
And he's still at the crease. He didn't move. He didn't shift across his crease. He just stayed where he was.
That's the reason that he's still at the crease.
Hit through the line. 9 for 94. Full toss and he plays across the line. Down to mid-on. And they get another run. The aim now is to get to 100.
100 isn't far away now.
No. It's always 1 wicket for the Australians either.
Absolutely right. It's a matter of 1 good delivery and how quickly they can have it.
Comes.
Reichert, we haven't seen the Yorkers from Reichert. We've seen a lot of balls outside off from Reichert.
Slower deliveries. 9 for 95. And this is spooned down the ground over the head of Reichert. Good piece of fielding again by the Australians. They cut it off. They've got long off and long on covered on the boundary for the straight hit there. They did in the previous boundary for Absar. And another run.
BG drop, Zichi. You come out.
To Ayan, who's made 9 off 13, and Absar 6 off 3. The battle has been other players other than Tala and Saeem to get into double figures. And Matthew Holmes was the star. Took 3 wickets from 4 balls in the previous over. He's on a hat-trick, didn't get it, then got another wicket in the next ball. Reichert bowls again. Squeeze through the onside for 1. That's all they'll get. Hurd, good fielding from deep mid-wicket.
Ball done. 2 balls to come.
So they're within reaching distance of 100.
A shot would do. Is that another cross-seam delivery coming up?
8 runs from this over so far.
And that's the first one that he's attacked the stumps with.
Flicked away nicely though. That was a good shot, wasn't it? As he
1 run.
just played it beautifully off his toes behind square.
Do you think he's going to attack one ball in the next over? Just one. 1 or 2 maximum. Try and bat the 20 overs because the runs are coming when they're batting in a manner that's not very risky.
Why didn't this happen earlier?
And even the boundaries are coming when they're
Yeah.
batting with less risk. Quite contrary, isn't it?
9 for 98, last ball of the 19th over. Colin Reichert. Now this is in the air, hit high, hit long, hit safely, clears the 2 fielders converging on it and lands safely.
100 comes up.
And the 100 is on the board.
2 runs.
He's done a good job here, Absar, just swinging through the line, staying still on the crease. And he's 9, A and 10, 1 over to go. Pakistan Sultans, who were sent into bat by the Australian Kangaroos, have done a great job in the field, 9 for 100.
Has reached limit.
So the current run rate's 5.26. 10 runs from this over gives them 110 and something to bowl at in the conditions as they become dewier and dewier, or more dewy, depending which school you're from. The longer the night goes on here at beautiful Noosa. This is flicked away through the onside to kick off a new over for Absar. He'll get into double figures joining Ayan, but they only get 1. And this is Holmes, who's been the wrecker. The figures now have 3 for 5. He took 3 wickets in 4 balls in the previous over. Was on a hat-trick. Didn't quite get the hat-trick, but got a wicket the next ball, bowling some magnificent slower deliveries. 9 for 100. And 1 now with 5 balls left. Absar 9, Ayan 11. Absar on strike. And he swings through this and down to Reichert on the bounce at long on. And it becomes the 4th player to get into double figures for the Sultans.
Ball done.
He's also taken 55 wickets, Absar Hassan. Bowling average of 14.65. His best bowling 5 for 5. Very capable. And he's been capable with the bat late in the innings. Maybe he should have come in a bit earlier. 4 balls left. Figures 3 for 6 Holmes. Again, the slow one. Driven. Ayan read it well. Down to mid-off.
Let's go here, boys.
1 run.
And they put the improvisation away, the Pakistanis. But as I said, maybe a little bit too late. And there's 3 balls left in the innings at 9 for 103. All bowlers bar Zeech have taken a wicket. He took none for 7 or 4 overs. It was great. Again, good bowling. Played into the offside. Again, bowling to his field. Stacked offside field have done a great job
Ball done.
to have pressure on the Pakistanis the whole time, but they squeezed some runs. 4 singles from 4 balls. 9 for 104. 2 balls left in the innings. The important aspect now for Pakistan, they can at least not be bowled out. AN has 12, Absar has 11. The 2 A's at the crease. 2 balls left. Holmes bowls. Full toss. Flicked around the corner to backward square. Throw at the stumps. It's a good return, but he's managed to make his way home. Diving hard. Absar. And he'll get to face the last delivery of the innings with the Pakistani Sultans at 9 for 105. Earlier today, the Indian Tigers beat the Sri Lankan Lions by 42 runs in the opening game of the tournament. Holmes to Absar, sly one, ends up being a full toss, and he manages to get a thick edge on this. That could go to the boundary. It does. What a handy boundary that is. 109, Australia need 110 to win. 9 runs from the last over. 5 singles and then a boundary, but still Holmes has done well, 3 for 13. So the Kangaroos need 110 to win. Well batted in the last couple of overs by AN and Absar. They were still at the crease, as we mentioned, and they managed to connect and get some handy runs and at least give the Pakistani Sultans, Suhas, something to bowl at.
Yeah, 109, and they've got the momentum going their way as well with the last boundary. They'll be mighty pleased by the fact that they are not bundled out. And 110 for the Kangaroos. They've got to make it look a little more than 110 there. The Pakistani Sultans with their fielding effort. And if they can borrow a leaf out of Baker's book, nothing better than that. 109 for 9. The bowlers, you have to look, the bowlers have scored some runs that they can bowl at. 15 of 8 for Absar Hassan. It's quite handy towards the end. Ayan Mazhar just staying put, 13 of 17, and that's all that was required. Saim did get a start after a very, very quiet phase. Talha and Hasnain, both of them departing in quick succession, made matters worse for Pakistani Sultans. But in the end, they managed to survive the 20 overs and get a 109 on the board. A modest total on a track which has got a little bit of skid.
The bowling, great. Look at Henry Zeke, 19 drop balls from 4 overs. That is an outstanding performance. Reichert had 15 dot balls, 1 for 18. Holmes, 8 dot balls, 3 for 13. Depinder Singh, 2 for 22. Baker was the most expensive, but still a great performance by the Australians.
Pick of the bowlers for me, Matthew Holmes. Yes. He knew exactly what line to be bowling on this track, the length to be bowling on this track, and the pace at which he could bowl is just phenomenal to watch. He is a complete cricketer.
I thought Henry Zeke was pretty good too. Anyway, 110 required. We'll take a break and be back with the run chase very shortly. It'll be fascinating how the Australian Kangaroos go. They elected to bowl first. I think it's worked pretty well. They've restricted the Pakistani Sultans to 9 for 109 of their 20 overs. Welcome back to the Taunton Noosa Cricket Club. Been around since 1970, this famous club. Part of the Sunshine Coast Cricket Association. It's great that they're hosting the Under-19 ACL Aussie Cricket League. We've seen India, the Indian Tigers beat the Sri Lankan Lions earlier today in the first game of the tournament. 2 more games tomorrow, 2 more on Saturday, and the final on Sunday night under lights. And they had a 42-run win, the Indian Tigers. And Pakistani Sultans started badly.
Let's play.
With the bat and never really recovered. They got 9 for 109. The last, they put on some runs, which helped. And the first ball's outside the off stump and left, as the Australians searched for 110 to win the game.
Yeah, just stop the arms out. Come on, you lads. Josh now, come on. Just stop the arms out.
Quite a few players got into double figures for the Pakistanis, including the last 2, Absar. But they lost wickets in clumps. And Matthew Holmes took 3 wickets in 4 balls. To really turn the game. So defended into the offside. And they need wickets early, the Pakistani Sultans. Suhas, good to have you with us once again. It's been a big day, my man. You got the coffee into you now to fire you up for the last 20 overs of day 1.
Thank you, Dan. A very good evening to everyone watching.
A slip in place.
Oh, and
an appeal for LBW. He's fairly keen, the bowler, but they get a run out of it.
Just politely asking if there
Ali
was a bat
Nassar,
involved.
yes. Afzal Ahmad is the bowler.
I think he's even more fired up now because he loves to contribute with the bat as well. A first ball duck is not going to sit well with him.
No, definitely not. And Matthew Holmes is on a hat-trick, missed it, and then got a wicket the next ball.
It is so heartwarming to see so much swing, and not just that, a slip in place. Now we are talking, a slip was missing. Not that the Australian Kangaroos required a slip to get most of the batters out, but still. Slip in place is a statement sent to the opposition that the ball is swinging a little more than they expected to. In their mind, it is swinging a little more.
Wide of the off stump, that did swing away a bit.
That's swinging away after it had gone past the batter.
Correct.
He had flirted a little bit with a wide line, but the umpire is fine with it. And that's what matters. The Kangaroos need 110. It's not a daunting target, but so many times in this beautiful format of ours, we've seen that a low-scoring game can be a thriller. Crisply struck, but straight to the fielder. It's gone through. That should have been stopped because it's going to be at least a couple of runs. He was trying to put the pressure on with just a single run in the first 3 deliveries. Not anymore. Afzal Ahmed's not happy.
2 runs. Ball done.
At a time where they're going
1 ball
to
to come.
enunciate this 110 so well, elongate this 110 and boost it up to look like 130. They are making mistakes of this kind.
Well, it was a good effort by the last 2 to get some valuable runs. I thought they were going to get bowled out well under 100 for Pakistan.
Love the rhythm that Afzal's got. Oh, that one came in.
Oh,
Superb effort by the keeper.
how did that not dismiss it? It was a ripper.
Dot ball. End of over 0. 0
Incredible
wickets
finish to the over. 3 without a wicket.
2 off 3. Nasser 1 off 3. For 3.
It's a good start by Afzal Ahmed. Harrison Zanis is at the crease for Australia.
Change bowler.
He's on 2. Ali Nassar is on 1.
Player double 1.
They're looking to give their team a good start. Now Harrison Zanis,
Tell us a bit about Harrison and the style of play that he subscribes to.
well, he seems to be an aggressive bat. He's played for Queensland Country, Western District and Toowoomba. He's also played with the South East Redbacks, South District Magpies and Moreton Magic. So he's played a lot of cricket with country Queensland teams. 901 runs at 29.06. He's made a century.
A Queensland product.
Absolutely.
Who would love to bat on these surfaces for sure, Harrison. And look how still he is. He's almost a statue, and the bowler has actually approached the popping crease. He's still a statue.
Ali Nassar is at the striker's end at the moment. Now, Ali has played in Queensland with the Warriors, Southern Knights and Gold Coast. 14 matches, made 383 runs and taken 7 wickets. And Abdul Rafi, who, as I say, was one of the boys from Melbourne, from the Footscray Edgewater Premier Cricket Club.
Ooh, it's got him this time. The underage has worked wonders for Abdul Rafi. That line, the reckless shot has come by. Harrison is not going to love this when he watches the replay. The Kangaroos have lost their Joey.
Well, Ali Nassar out as 1 for 3. That's a great start by young Abdul Rafi. Getting a big wicket early days. It kept low, and that's the issue we're having. We're getting some deliveries that are taking off, and the occasional one, not one every over, but one every 3 or 4 overs. Suhas is keeping a bit low, and the later the evening goes, I just have a feeling they might keep lower and lower, and a low score will be hard to run down.
It's the second game and it's the second innings of the second game. The this pitch will also have its own wear and tear. A lot of pace bowlers have run up to it. And then one of the umpires, he wasn't very polite in suggesting you're running in the danger areas either. So he's got to be careful of that too. And I think it's happened again. So there is a bit of wear and tear.
Balian Hurd, and he's played with Toowoomba, Surface Paradise.
I've been told that he has absolute irreverence to the boundary ropes, but that's not going to be the case today. He's held out. What a catch that is at point. He's practicing his shot. He can do that all the way back to the hut. What an effort.
Oh.
Abdul Rafi is on a hat-trick and Kangaroos have been caught on the hop.
2 for 3. And all of a sudden 110 looks a long way away.
I just remember that in Australia you say it the other way around, and you will look around and say that, you can turn around and say that we say it the other way around in India.
No,
what a good
fine.
catch this is. But 3 for 2 looks confusing either way.
Well, 3 for 2 looks bad and 2 for 3 looks pretty bad.
It's 3 for 2 in my books.
So Valiant Herd out first ball. And some work for the Australians to do now. They're going to try and consolidate.
You have to have 2 L's.
Just to wonder how much pressure the Baker would be under.
And well done to Abdul Rafai.
Now Baker's a local boy, and I was looking at so many wonderful names in the boards around, and Baker's name features so many times for lifting his bat for a half century. Especially the Thunder tournament recently concluded. And that means Baker is not going to be, he's going to be one of the favorites to be scoring runs today, but he's not going to be in an ideal position to score runs today. He's inheriting a scorecard that he's not going to be proud of initially. He's going to turn it around, can he? He's got the game for it. He's got the passion for it.
Trying avoiding a hat trick, which he does.
Aha, well done. 2 slips.
Oh, I love it, the second slip. They're on the attack, the Sultans. And this is Cruz Baker. So there's Cruz Baker and Ben Baker. Cruz has played 39 matches and scored 976 runs and 28.71.
Wonderful.
He's taken 8 wickets at 16.25.
In this over, not a single run conceded so far, only wickets to show. And it's going to go straight to the fielder as well. Running would be risky, Baker knows, and you don't do that with 3 for 2. We were talking about the Pakistani Sultans not going down without a fight. They have got Kangaroos by the scruff of their neck right now. 3 for 2 in 11 deliveries. It's the composure of Baker and the presence of mind of Harrison that matters more than the skill itself. Because if they bat the allotted 20 overs, it's not a total that's going to be daunting, but it's going to be a total that's going to test their game awareness more than anything else.
Made that nicely. That's a good shot, punching it off the back foot.
And coming back for the second run as well. Had that been a clean collect, the story could have been a little different, but the Kangaroos managed 2 more. 2 overs gone. 4 for 2. 5 for 2.
2 wickets.
Wow, what a start by the Pakistanis by the Sultans. And that trip from the airport at Maroochydore with me must have certainly helped. The mosquitoes are on my face, they love me. You're lucky when I'm around with mosquitoes, Suhas.
I think it's a give and take, but it's a give and take policy. You said that they make your blood boil and they like boiled blood perhaps, so I think it's a give and take for them.
Well, they're everywhere around me. So here's, that's a good first ball of the third over.
I don't know if it's optical illusion or anything, but I thought that ball's going to skid through.
He did well to keep that out, Harrison Zanis.
Every time there is a tall batter, as a bowler, as a fast bowler especially, are you thinking a Yorker is perhaps a good option? And if he has, just like Harrison Baker, an accentuated backlift, then you're talking about a Yorker even more.
Absolutely.
It's going to go up in the air. This should be taken. This will be taken.
Oh dear.
5 for 3 and Afzal Ahmed strikes. He was so close to getting a wicket in the first over as well, but he's turned it around for his side once again. What a good catch as well it is. Afzal Ahmed has produced a wicket that matters the most.
Well,
Kangaroos.
that's a terrible shot by Harrison Zanis, and the Australians have taken the gas early days in 2.1 overs. Well, they're 3 for 5 and a long, long way away from winning this game at the moment.
What good thinking this is, Dan. What good thinking this is from Afzal Ahmed. Pushes a Yorker in first ball, creates the doubts in the mind of the batter. Then one delivery where he suddenly had to use his back foot, didn't do so. Look at this one, skyrocket straight up in the air. A miss hit and the end of the innings for him. Simple as it gets, that catch, and Afzal Ahmed has produced a wicket. He's looking at the bat in disbelief, but the bat hasn't misbehaved, mind you. There are good spots in the bat too which make the ball travel. The Kangaroos have lost another. The herd is getting smaller and smaller.
Well, this is the wicket keeper, Curtis McAllister. He's also played for Western Power in the Brisbane Under-17 competition. Played for the
Hey,
Queensland under
Ed,
17
is
team
that
as
four
well.
now? He got
And
four
he's
now.
played for Glasshouse and the Sunshine Coast. So another local boy that would know this venue pretty well. But his team, under the pump, they've just got to try and settle in these two, Cruz Baker and Curtis McAllister.
Now you're going to teach me some Aussie slang. Oh, this one's coming back in beautifully. Afzal Ahmed, he is spewing fire at the moment. A group of kangaroos, it's not as a mob of kangaroos, a group of kangaroos. What do you prefer? Or a court of kangaroos if they're settling something?
I think a court of kangaroos.
A court of kangaroos?
Court of kangaroos.
If they're settling a tiff, then perhaps a court of kangaroos will do.
So. You wouldn't want them settling a tiff around you, thank you. And around your car either at dusk.
I'll tell you what, it's my second trip to Australia. I haven't seen one, even though you promised me some when we were driving to Cranbourne.
Well, yes, you wouldn't want to see them either at night because you come up second best.
Okay. If it's a bout that's waiting to happen, I want to see you with the gloves on. Go for it. I'm Team Dan. I am Team Dan.
Yeah, we can be Team Dan as much as you like. You'll come off second, third, fourth, fifth best.
Fifth best out of 4 kangaroos and a human.
Oh, no chance. So 3 for 5 are moving right along here. And the Australian Kangaroos in the cricket in trouble, and McAllister just has to settle in as this is good bowling by Afzal Ahmed. He's got 1 wicket. And bowling beautifully.
Just loving this. Not a single run scored in a long time. Afzal's not just picking up wickets, he's keeping it so tight. Is a delivery a run scoring option or not has become the question now for the Kangaroos. With 3 back in the hut, the engine room is done and dusted with as far as the Pakistani Sultans are concerned. And true to their names, they are roaring. The Sultans, they are the one dictating terms. Swing bowling at its best. Pace bowling at its best. Oh, good ball.
Keeping low though, that bounce to the wicket keeper. So playing tricks, the wicket.
You've got to love the passion with which these 2 pacers have been delivering the beauties. The Kangaroos themselves found some wonderful paces.
He's got like 5 minutes.
And otherwise you can't restrict Sultans to just 109. But what Sultans have done is they've turned around and asked 109 runs is still 109 runs on the board.
Just wonder whether Absar and Ayan's partnership at the end to take a shot at 90.
And the fact that they did not get bundled out is going to give them some confidence, Dan.
That could be the difference between them winning and losing.
Wicket maiden. Wicket maiden from Afzal Ahmed. You can't ask for anything better from Afzal Ahmed. What a star in the making. 3 overs gone. 5 for 3.
So a lot of work to be done by the Australians, and Curtis and Cruz Baker have just got to settle in now for an opportunity to find their way. We saw Saim do that for a little while, and maybe that innings of 28, once he got going, could be important. Look at all the players that got into double figures, and quite a few did for Pakistan. They never really went on with it.
You're going to love this duo, Abdul Rafi.
What a great
and his
over it
partner
was.
in crime.
Yep.
Dan, what's impressed you most about this young man?
Oh, just the fact he's bowled on line. He forced Cruz Baker, when Cruz Baker has come to the crease, a few balls he faced on the back foot as well. So he's bowling short of a length, and he's having to steer it into the offside. And they've got a populated offside field inside the circle for the opening 6 overs, Suhas, because of course we're in the power play, the initial power play. So he is bowling intelligently, he's bowling accurately, and he's bowling to his field, which is the most important aspect.
Intelligence and accuracy gets you the wickets, bowling to the field gets you the brownie points.
So Abdul Rafi in again, and a swing and a miss, and once more it rolls to the wicket keeper, so it continues to keep low. Those Mozzies are everywhere.
Yeah, it took me a while to understand that in Australia you curtail almost everything. Mosquitoes become mozzies. I really wish this was the case when I was trying to give my dictations and getting some point. points or marks. Mozzies are easy to spell.
M-O-Z-Z-Y. Mosquito,
Or
M-O-S-Q-U-I-T-O.
whatever you wanted to call it.
Here's Abdul.
Oh, good ball.
Rafe again. He's playing beautiful, isn't he, this young man from Footscray Edgewater?
Oh, he's incredible. I think he's earned a fan in one of the commentators now for sure. Abdul Rafe. Just love the fact that he can just close his eyes and see the channel in which he wants to bowl. And the bounce as well for Abdul Rafe. One that doesn't produces a wicket, one that does almost produces another.
What I like about the coach Sahel is he's very good at instilling confidence in his team to win from any position.
And that's the beauty of Sohail. You've seen him captain as well,
Oh,
so you know what goes on in the mind of a great cricketer. That's gone high. That's gone high and handsome enough.
I wasn't sure he got enough of that. It went very, very high. I was wondering about was there enough distance in it to clear the field, but there certainly was, and he went on the advance then, Cruz Baker. That was a good shot in the end.
Something had to give, Dan.
Oh.
Something had to give. 3-dot balls. Baker decides to go for half a dozen.
Oh.
Half a dozen, not if it's a Baker's, does it?
It could not have come off almost as well, if you know what I mean, because it just looked like it'd gone high in the air, but he got enough on it, which was fantastic. Threw everything at that. Well done. 3 for 11. Abdul Rafe in again, and he defends off the back foot. That's good bowling short of a length once more. Great comeback delivery by the young man.
Last ball. Love the comeback from Abdul Rafe. I think the captain's telling them, let's keep the chirping going on.
There's a lot of the organising committee. They've done a great job again with the ACL. They love their cricket, those
And
guys.
We love each one of them, isn't it?
We sure do.
Couple of good cricketers in there too.
Yes.
Jatinder Jat, Pannu. Oh, extra bounce.
That's played well though by Cruz Baker. It was on the back foot and he managed to fend it down, took a hand off the bat and played that really, really well. He's bowling well, this young man. Very impressed with Rafe's first 2 overs.
Score ticks on over the 2 figures mark, 11 for 3.
Your captain, would you give him one more? Or would you just put him in cotton wool and bring him back later?
With the form that he's in, I'd probably give him one more because you know that he can close a game out here if he picks up another. But very interestingly, he wasn't attacking in the last 2 deliveries. If you see, the slips had faded away.
Correct. I still think they needed to keep the slips in, to be honest.
Suddenly there were 2, and the progression should be one of them fades away, one still stays. That wasn't the case. Suddenly the keeper was all alone. 99 of 96. Now that's Sidhu and Harry. Both of them. Both of them whose names are always complete with the word Paji.
What's Pudgy mean?
Elder brother, perhaps.
Wow.
Elderly for sure, in the sense, with a lot of respect.
The youngest
Elder
me.
for sure.
Yeah. Haroon Nadeem is the bowler now.
And that comes straight from heart. The word Paji comes straight from heart.
Very short and wide outside the offside. It's not called. Why isn't that called? Curtis McAllister asking the same question that I've just asked. The loosener from Haroon Nadeem was very wide indeed. It was so wide it was headed for the pie stand, but the umpire didn't give it.
Oh, well.
That was that in the air for a little bit? It was very low. If it was a chance for a catch, certainly didn't get him in the middle of the bat. That's a bat without any stickers.
Very soon he'll attract a sponsor for sure if he can get runs in this game in ACL. Haroon Nadeem is a tall man, and for him to bend down was quite a task.
He's tall, isn't he?
We've seen some tall under 19 cricketers. And then only I was a late bloomer, wasn't I?
You were. I remember seeing Shaheen Shahar Freedy play the Australians in an under-19 fixture before the World Cup in 2018. And he was 18 then, and they said that he hadn't grown since under 15s. And Wasim Akram came and watched them play the third match of these three, because it was an opportunity for some of the Australians, including Will Sutherland, who's now staff at Victoria and won their Shield Cricketer of the Year award this season. I'll come back to that in a second as Arun bowls widely off stump and appeal for a catch behind. Was there a nibble? I don't think McAllister got an edge on that.
I think there was daylight between the bat and the ball, but 4 dot deliveries is going to add more pressure.
It is. And Wasim Akram turned up, and he was like the king. All the players stood up, they were batting. And then he asked us some questions about Shaheen Shah Afridi, and he watched him bowl his opening spell in the run chase, and after 3 overs he asked the manager if he could come off. Let's have a look. No, that missed by a long, long way. I think that what they heard was the bat hitting the ground.
Back to Afridi.
Yeah, and Shaheen Shah Afridi, as this is hit in the air, has it cleared the outfield just. Isa's put it down, and Haroon is demanding an apology. Yeah, did he get fingers on that, do you think?
I think backtracking is never easy, but he had enough time to get around it, especially if you're defending 110. You got to grab anything that flies towards you, even if it resembles a cricket ball.
So Wasim Akram asked if he could come off, and he was going through some drills with it, and he's come back to us, and I said, what do you think? He said, we've found another one.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, that's all he said.
He was so sure that he has found the future.
Oh, he just thought, we've got another one here, and he's proven himself to be correct. He's been pretty good. He's had a few injuries in recent times, but he's a good bowler.
13 for 3 in 5 overs will keep the chat alive. Haroon Nadeem's bowled another very good over. The 2 runs that came off that 5th delivery, even that wasn't without resistance. The catch could have been taken. And Isa, you got to say that, has put it down. There was an opportunity. The Kangaroos are hopping their way.
Oh, limping their way at the moment. 97 needed off 90 balls, and they're going to keep the young man on, who's taken a couple of wickets. He was on a hat-trick. He's a quick bowler at Footscray. They did pretty well in the Premier Comp, but they need a spinner. He's a young, medium-fast bowler that hopefully has a good future for the Footscray Edgewater Cricket Club. And he's taken 2 wickets, a swing and a miss. If he had got onto that, Cruz Baker, that would have gone out of the ground, but he didn't.
No,
it was a bit too quick for him, wasn't it?
True, but he seems to be someone who hits the ball really, really hard.
He does.
Cruz Baker. And
he's only little, isn't he?
And I just love the passion that he's got, despite when he walked in, the scorecard read a miserable story. Now they've just about moved into the 2 figures. He still went for that 6 stand straight down the ground after 3 dot deliveries. He's got a bit of Maxwell going about it.
Looked like he miscued. Abdul Rafi with the figures of 2 for 8 in his 3rd over. And
smashed
that's a
hard.
beautiful shot. Look at that.
I think that's my favourite shot now, especially from Cruz Baker's bat. It's a slap on the offside. It's gone for 4 in no time. And if you ask me the difference between a tracer bullet or any other bullet, I think this is the fastest bullet that you've got.
That was an unorthodox cut. You know, that reminded me of, except he didn't have the moustache, was David Boone at his best. He used to play the cut shot like that. Being so short, the ball was nearly over his head, and he just used to pick gaps between point and cover. There's no way that the fielders could do anything about that. Outstanding shot by Cruz Baker. Gee, he does hit it hard, you're right. 3 for 17.
Just love the way he lets the bottom hand take over. This was played with soft hands though. Just love the way that the bottom hand takes over after a point of time.
And again, he was on the back foot.
Yes. Such a good, strong player of the back foot. Very well built, Cruz Baker. And where the Kangaroos have got 17, Cruz has got 12.
So 12 of 11. The run rate, though, is just over 3, and the required run rate is over 6. Still a long way to go yet. Trying to get their team going is Cruz Baker. Rafe again bowls beautifully. But he works it away to backward point. Just allowed the ball to hit the bat then. That was just, again, nice soft hands.
Ball down. 2 balls to come.
And again, off the back foot, squirting it away.
4-0-1. Abdul Rafi. I say that a comeback is awaited from Rafi, who's picked up 2 wickets already. And that goes without saying that Curtis has had the best seat in the house to view Baker's little innings so far. But Curtis himself is a ticking time bomb. Usually starts to explore run scoring opportunities early on. Oh, well fielded. There was some bad bounce, there was some torque, but he was able to tackle everything.
Took the outside edge, but it landed safely, but only just. Again, he got beaten by the pace. He's done a good job, this young man. Probably needs to have a rest now and bring him back for one more over. If
No. I think he's
you would bowl him out, would you?
No. He's going to get a bit of rest. I would probably keep him because I understand that Baker's going well. And Curtis himself has faced 11 deliveries. It's going to be 12 for sure at the end of this over, at least 12. So I would probably bring a new bowler in. Give this man a rest. Oh, taken. Thank you, says Abdul Rafi. The slower delivery is worth wonders once again. And this time it's Curtis who's still wondering what the surface has to offer, and Abdul Rafi is bowling in it.
Steered it limply. It's a third man, whitish third man, you're right. It was a slower delivery. And all he could do was put it straight down the throat of third man, and the 4th Australian wicket falls at 19. And Abdul Rafi, with the figures of 3 for 14, continues to do the damage.
Would you believe it? It's Baker, to be honest. It's Baker walking back. A hardcore hitter gets a soft dismissal.
They're in real trouble here, the Australians. Matthew Holmes has come. He's got a big smile on his face. I'm sure he's seen the score.
Player 27.
And of course he was a star with the ball. 3 wickets from 4 balls. He was on a hat-trick, didn't quite get it, but got a wicket the next ball as he was cleaning up the tail.
The coach usually says when you're 19 for 3 and chasing a very modest total, the coach usually says that play for shorter targets. Play for targets which are 10, 15 runs away.
Well, this target's a mile away now.
Let's start at the next power play, guys. Next power play. You can have 5 out.
So he finishes that over. Figures of 3 for 14. So 6 overs gone. Here's Haroon, and that's driven beautifully. That'll help. In the slot to the boundary for 4 through the covers. That's a beautiful cricket shot. So you can play beautiful cricket shots in a T20 game. You can stand still at the crease. We said that late in the Pakistan innings when the tail enders, the 2As got going and got their score to 109, which is looking pretty good at the moment. But that's a great shot by Curtis McAllister, and he moves to 7, and it's 4 for 23 at the start of the 7th over. Haroon again.
Oh, good delivery.
Oh, was there an edge and dropped? I've got a feeling Haroon thinks that there was an edge and the keeper's dropped it if you look at his reaction. We'll check with the replay, and I think that it might have been an edge. Let's have a look, Suhas.
It's difficult to say, but
there was a bit of a deflection. And I think he knows it, Haroon. The wicketkeeper snatched at it and thought he might have had it and didn't have it, if you know what I mean.
And even the umpire was trying to look beyond the obscuring batter to see if the catch was taken.
I think it was a drop catch. 4 for 23.
Soft hands, but
yeah, squeezes to points.
Just love the fact that the Pakistani Sultans are buzzing now.
Oh, they are.
With 110 in their kitty. They came out positively, picked up the early wickets. Now the jolts have continued for the Kangaroos. 19 for 4 is not a scorecard they'd be proud of at the end of the first power play.
So Frazar dropped that catch. He's clutching at it, as we said.
Now 23 for 4, of course.
Yep.
That boundary.
McAllister gets a full toss that hits the foot the size 15 shoe of Big Haroon.
Size 15.
Yeah, he's a big man.
Dot ball.
Have you seen his pants? His pants to me look a bit short for
2
him.
balls to come.
You can see his black socks as well. It's a full toss that McAllister would be disappointed he didn't put away. And Haroon would be relieved that it didn't break his foot. It was hit pretty hard. 4 for 23. I remember Haroon Rashid was the other Pakistan cricketer with the first name Haroon. Played for Pakistan in the 70s. Hard-hitting middle order bat.
Lovely.
Oh, it's a great delivery. Probing outside the off stump.
You know what? The way Haroon balls outside the off stump, it just reinstills the confidence in the word uncertainty. When you say it's a corridor of uncertainty.
Hallway of hesitation.
23 for 4 is a good time to come in and bowl, but you've still got to execute. And I just love the fact that the Pakistani Sultans have believed in their fast bowlers and they're doing the trick.
It's a nice shot off the toes. Flicked away out to deep mid wicket. Just one run. And McAllister will keep the strike. It means Holmes is on the non-striker's end once more.
4 wickets for 24.
And it's 4 for 24 after 7 overs, chasing 110 to win the game. Curtis is 8, Curtis McAllister off 17 balls, and Matthew Holmes has only faced the one so far. And McAllister will again be on strike as the tournament committee and organisers are on our screen. Watching proceedings on this lovely night at Noosa. And Issa is in the attack. Just out with the bat early days like a number of teammates. A few of them got into double figures. Saeem was the only one that actually got past 20. And then the two tail enders got some runs to get them to 109, which might be enough. Could be the difference between them winning and losing. Mind you, they've got some early wickets. We're talking of Absar and Ayan. So Issa, another medium pacer. Haven't seen too many spinners in this match. We saw quite a few in the Indian-Sri Lankan game earlier today, which the Lankan Lions were beaten by the Indian Tigers. Here's Issa with an interesting action. Edge bounces in front of the wicket keeper. Now this is a very interesting action. All arms from Issa. It's almost a little bit like Max Walker, the late great Max Walker, and the late great Alan Froggy Thompson and Lance Cairns. Not bowling off the wrong foot. But the arms going up in a tangle. And Paul Adams, the spinner who wasn't watching where the ball was being delivered. Remember him? Frog in the blender, the South African spinner. Bowls a little bit like this as well. And that was a good delivery there by Issa. It beat the outside edge of Curtis McAllister's bat. Australians needing 85 in 77 balls. And a 4 for 25 in the 8th over. Here's Issa again. Bowls to McAllister down the leg side. Not taken cleanly by the wicket keeper, safe. It was off his pads. And, Pell for a run out. Direct hit, but I've got a feeling McAllister might have made it home. It was a great return from the deep. Wides as well. As it went down the leg side, he looked to swing into that McAllister. Too wide for him. Not taken cleanly by Safe. He's made a couple of errors as the wicket keeper. It was a great return, but I think McAllister had made his ground. He was well past the wickets when the return hit the stumps on the full. Some spectacular fielding by all teams so far today in the opening day of the Aussie Cricket League. 4 for 25. And this is the 8th over. And Holmes hasn't had much strikes since coming to the wicket, just one delivery. It's down the leg side, that's a wide.
Wide ball.
4 for 28 now, they update the score. Got the windmill action, is what I'm trying to say, Issa. For 29, Curtis McAllister beaten again, but once more the wicketkeeper doesn't take it cleanly. He's angry with himself, he just can't get bat on ball enough and playing and missing. This has been a very good spell by Issa, opening over so far. That's 4 for 29. Curtis McAllister gets a low delivery, but once more not taken cleanly by the wicketkeeper, who is conceding a lot of runs at the moment, and that return was almost an overthrow. This isn't helping Pakistan's cause. The wicketkeeper Saif has been very, very untidy. He's dropped a catch and he's made a few errors, not taking the ball cleanly. Mind you, they are keeping a bit low, and it's 4 for 30 near the end of the 8th over. Finally putting Holmes on strike. This has been an interesting over. No ball. 2 wides, a wide. A dot ball. Oh, beautiful shot by Holmes as he drives it, but straight to the deep cover fielder, the sweeper. That was as good a cricket shot as you're likely to see.
Yeah, that's the... he's run it so many times, Issa, that he's been contributing to an over itself for the wides in the no balls column.
Windmill action. What's his action? Like the late great Max Walker, as I said, the late great Alan Thompson. Very interesting action, but it seems to work for him.
It reminds me of Sohail Tanvir, who's more my generation.
Yes. It worked for Max Walker. It worked for Alan Thompson at domestic cricket level for Victoria for a couple of years. Not so successful at test level. Bowled the first ever ball in one-day cricket, Alan Froggy Thompson.
Sometimes in Australia I realise that the middle names are sobriquets and not the middle names themselves.
Well, the nicknames are the ones.
Yeah, the sobriquets, the nicknames, yes.
They're always very important in cricket.
Dan, what's yours?
Oh, dashing, dangerous.
Dashing,
probably the two that I've got. Yes.
Dashing, dangerous are adjectives.
Yes.
Not a sobriquet.
No, nothing. Loners, nothing major. This over's taken forever, and I'll tell you what, Saif has made blue after blue after blue, another error. He dropped the catch and he has conceded a number of byes and wides this over. It's been a terrible over by the wicketkeeper, who's just battled to hold onto the ball. Elementary takes, basically. And again, this is from a man who, when he was wicket-keeping, broke his nose, so I shouldn't talk. 8 overs gone, 4 for 33. Curtis McAllister 9, Matthew Holmes 1. Look at that for an over. No ball. North. 2 wides. Wide. 1 by. 1 by. And a dot ball. That is a licorice all sorts over. But a lot of it not the fault of Issa. The wicketkeeper Saif struggling. So Haroon will continue here with Australia at 4 for 33, losing a lot of early wickets. Current run rate 4.13, required run rate 6.42.
Look how itchy Haroon is to bowl.
Oh, he can't wait.
It's good to see a fast bowler like that.
I think his pants are a bit short. He's tall and skinny, isn't he? Haroon Nadeem
good lanky fast bowler.
Oh, he is. He's the way they're
Reminds me of
generally built.
a bit of Ishant Sharma. Bit of Farooq.
Yes, absolutely. Ishant Sharma, yeah. He was a good steady bowler, wasn't he? Probably didn't have the success that it looked like he was going to very early in his career when he started as a teenager.
Well, it was a mixed bag for him, and look how well he's come back in the IPL now, restricting 12 runs with Tewatia there. Marvellous. Vijay Shankar as well.
That's a good shot, flicking it off his toes to forward square leg.
I know
He just
you-
can't score though.
I know you have fond memories of Ishant Sharma.
I like him. I think he's a very good player.
Everybody does, except for Paul.
He's an excellent bowler, but sometimes he just didn't have as much luck
We
as
love
he should
the...
have.
In India, I remember waking up early to watch the banter between Smith and Ishant Sharma. They would make
remember that.
faces.
I think his debut series wasn't the one
Yes.
with Andrew Simons and Harbhajan Singh.
No,
That
no,
was his
no,
debut
no.
series.
No.
I'm sure it was.
With Ishant Sharma and making faces? No, that was a
No,
different...
no, Ishant Sharma, his debut series was that one.
You
All
mean- oh,
those
the
years
debut
ago.
series,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The one way he made faces with Smith trying to decode. Smith has own conversations, I feel, in the middle of the over. He has conversations with himself.
There's no doubt about that.
And he's got those idiosyncrasies going about him as well, Smith.
Well, he's a very unusual batter, isn't he? A very effective and unusual batter. We're talking of unorthodoxy and orthodoxy, which we've spoken a little bit about tonight. Suhas, he backs himself. He knows what he can do and what he can't do, and he can do most things as a batter.
He's a
So he-
reminder. I think he's a reminder to all the other cricketers as well that even at the international level, it's important to know your strengths and
Correct.
your weaknesses and play according to the former.
Correct. Haroon working away again. They just can't score here. That's the slow one, as slow as anything we've seen. But well played by Matthew Holmes. He read that like a book and just managed to guide it around the corner to deep backward square. And it's 4 for 34 in the ninth over.
1 ball to come.
Haroon's got the confidence to bowl a slow ball bouncer and he executed it perfectly. It's just that Matthew was in no hurry despite 4 dot balls strung together. And that gave us a surprise for Haroon, who thought he will pounce on it.
That would have struggled to be 100 k's an hour, that delivery. It was a slow ball.
Got a speed gun over here as well.
Oh, driven beautifully, but a great piece of fielding at mid-off. Took the pace off it and avoided a couple of runs. Same, doing the fielding. Same, who was the man that got going with the bat. Highest run score of 28 in Pakistan. We thought not enough of 9 for 109, but might be more than enough with the Aussies at 4 for 36, the Kangaroos. After 9 overs, 11 to go. They need 74 of 66 balls. Plenty of cricket still to be played here. Curtis McAllister 11 and Matthew Holmes on 2. And Holmes, of course, bowled really well to grab 3 wickets. One of the reasons why Australia were able to restrict Pakistan to 9 for 109. All their bowlers did pretty well. These two just starting to get the Aussies going, but still a long way off it. Here's Issa again with his windmill action to bowl his second over. Thought bowled okay in the last over, but let down by his wicket keepers, I mentioned a few times. He's going to stand up here. We haven't seen a spinner from the Pakistanis yet. The Sultans mainly using, or are we going to see one now? We might be seeing one now. We are. We've got a leg spinner on. I thought that was going to be Issa, and it's a short long hop, which is whacked out through the onside, the deep mid wicket. So Rayan Farooq, who made 10 with the bat, has come into the attack. He opened the batting. Plays with the St Kilda Cricket Club in Melbourne. Bowls leg spin, and that's good bowling. He nearly Yorks Holmes. I should say McAllister, who's really battling to make a lot of connection, and he just plays the ball back to the bowler. 4 for 37, early stages, 10th over. Rayan Farouk has McAllister driving fluently, beats cover, and it'll go to the boundary for 4. How quick is that outfield? I thought Whitey Schmidhoff might have nearly overhauled that, but gee, that ball got away from him quick as a flash once it got past the infield. That's a beautiful cricket shot by Curtis McAllister. He's been there a long time. He's just struggled to find the timing, but he did on that occasion. And that might help the Kangaroos cause at 4 for 41 in the 10th over. So Rayan Farouk, it again, wide of the off stump, and McAllister attempts to cut. Once more, not taken cleanly behind the stumps by Safe. He's had a difficult night with the gloves at 4 for 41. Takes it away through the onside for 1. Took the pace off the shot. And they come back for 2. Oh, that's a direct hit. Is he in some trouble, McAllister? Is he in some trouble? Let's have a look at this. Because they went for 2. He took the pace off the shot, and the fielder from deep mid-wicket had to come in, and he decided he wanted to go for 2. I reckon the Pakistani think that he might be out here. Let's have a look.
The last thing the Kangaroos wanted this time is a run out. Oh, well, in between frames kind of a thing, this. The decisive frame. If it's this one, then he's in trouble. If this one, then he's in trouble. We don't know yet. We'll wait for the umpire's signal. What does the umpire say?
Third umpire's waiting to have a good look at this.
It's not just about the tightening up of the wheels. It's about getting them off the groove as well.
Hard to see. There was.
Clean pick up and throw, and love the fact that it was flat and direct.
Whether the third umpire, who's right next to us, can see a red light before the batter has made his crease. To me, we need to know whether the red light has come up before the batter had made his ground. I'm not 100% sure.
It also depends on which one is the decisive frame.
Correct.
Since we're not getting the juxtaposing of the two angles, depends on which one is the frame that matters the most.
I've always been a believer that if you're showing a replay a lot of times, there is doubt. But anyway, we'll see. And he's short of his ground. Yeah.
And there it is, the green Sultans have decided to celebrate. They're going to jump up in joy, not disperse in despair.
Very good decision by the third umpire. He had a good look, and we had a good look at it with him. He's right next to us. And in the end, he said if the red light on the bail is showing before the batter has made his ground, which was the case after a few good looks, the decision is out, and it's disappointment for Curtis McAllister. He went for the second run, and he nearly made it home, but again, it was a pretty good return.
The Kangaroos are doing at this stage at 41 for 5, and this can turn out to be quite a thriller with just 109 on the board for the Sultans. They have poured their heart out, they've fielded their heart out.
It's been outstanding.
Look at that throw once again. Absolutely phenomenal.
It was quite a good shot, wasn't it? Because he took the pace of it, as we said, through mid-wicket.
And his soft hands as well.
Yeah, lovely hands, lovely hands. As good a shot as he played so far.
The flat throw.
One ball
The
to
flat
count.
throw. One swift motion. The pick up and dispatch.
Oh, yeah.
A direct hit and game over.
I mean, McAllister and Holmes did everything right because it seems they were very decisive in going to the second run.
That's another opportunity gone down.
Yep.
Would have been against the run of play there. Dancing down the track to go for a big shot. I think he hasn't seen the scorecard yet.
End of over
Why would you do that? And once again, the wicketkeeper snatched at it. This hasn't been a great night for Safe, the wicketkeeper.
Should have been another wicket.
Yeah, great.
The Kangaroos at the moment are 41 for 5.
Jackson Todman, oh, he was gone, wasn't he? Absolutely gone if he had have taken that and whipped the bails off, and he knows it too. Big opportunity goes begging for Rayan Farouk for consecutive wickets for the Pakistanis to be in a team hat-trick, but not to be. And he's dropped one as well, and he's let through a few byes. But they've got half the Kangaroos out at 42,
zero for 13.
and they're still
Change bowler.
68 away from victory, and it's getting tougher for the Kangaroos. 10 overs bowled.
Player 06.
Change the bowler, right arm over.
Dot ball. Dot ball.
Looks like Issa's back in the attack with his windmill action. At 5 for 42. Driven straight back to the bowler, firmly by Holmes. Another dot ball. Adds to the intrigue. They're a long way from it at the moment, the Kangaroos. And we're now into the lower middle order.
Undue command.
And then the tail to come. Issa again. It swung away in the air, but lands safely to Haroon at long on. Another run on the board. It's 5 for 43.
1 run.
The start of the 11th over.
Ball done.
27 down here on the boundary, mate. He's coming in from outside the field of play.
Holmes and Todman need a decent partnership here. Issa's been okay. None for 8.
This side of the field. Yeah.
Run out of McAllister. Could nearly be the final blow as far as the Australians are concerned. Here's Issa again. And it's short of a length. It's stabbed away on the offside. The fielders are deep, and even Issa was the one that was going to do the fielding. But good bowling to force the batters on the back foot. They've done a great job, these Pakistan bowlers, the Sultans, to defend 109 after the Indian Tigers made 162 and comfortably beat the Lankans. And Issa in again. And playing across the line is Holmes. Every run is like gold at the moment for the Australians.
2 balls to come.
Just 3 runs from this over. 5 for 45 in the 11th over. The run rate required nearing 7. Current run rate 4.2. Issa again, and it's a slower delivery once more, not taken by, and it hit the helmet as well, did it?
Oh, those would be 5 runs that the Kangaroos would not want to leave.
5 penalty runs.
Every run's been a struggle against Stream for them. Every run.
Penalty runs.
Penalty. Oh,
Did hit the
penalty.
helmet. Again, the wicketkeeper not able to take that tidily.
Oh, God. The wicketkeeper has got a lot of runs written against him.
He didn't make many with the bat either. 5 for 50.
Undue command.
Yes.
2
He's
balls
had a
to
tough
come.
night.
3 runs.
Well, isn't that a good day in front of the wicket, neither behind?
2 balls to come. 5 runs. Ball done. 1 ball to come.
I think it did. Here's Issa again on the leg stump. Turned into the onside for one.
Issa bowls a good bouncer actually.
He
The
does.
only helmet that he wanted to see hit in the batters, not the one that's innocuously lying.
It's that awkward, unorthodox action.
We talked about the windmill.
It is.
11 overs gone, 51 for 5, the Kangaroos. But they bat really deep. They bat really deep.
I was 8 years old, and I still remember one of my great moments was Max Walker with his windmill action and bowling off the wrong foot. That's what they called him, tangles. Famous Victorian at the MCG in the Centenary Test of 1977. And he got Tony Greig out. Australia got bowled out for 138 on the first day. And they bowled England out for 95 on the second day. And when he bowled Tony Greig out, it's as big a roar. I've seen a lot of sport at the MCG over the years. It's as big a roar as I've ever heard at the MCG of a live event. Now, I wasn't there when Mitch Stark got Brendan McCullum out early in the 2015 World Cup final. And apparently that was a huge roar. But when Tangles got Tony Greig out with a Yorker, it was outstanding. Rayan Farouk.
That you remember first up.
I was there with my mum. My dear old mum is no longer with us. Yeah, we were there. It's fantastic. Great days cricket.
51 for 5 here, the Kangaroos. Oh, it's got
Bowled him. Another one. Great piece of bowling. Holmes is out. It's taken the leg stump in Australia. Not even halfway there yet. Further in the mile at 6 for 51 in the 12th over.
The required rate being 6.6 is still a humble required rate on a surface of this kind. The shot is inexplicable under circumstances. But he's gone for the biggie. Missed it completely. He heard the death rattle, so doesn't even want to look behind. The Kangaroos are in deep, deep trouble. 51 for 6. And the brilliance and the masterclass of Sohail beyond the boundaries, it's helping the boys. You told me that he's a fighter.
Well, he is a fighter, and he also says, well, we've got 109, and they haven't got anything yet. So we're 109 runs in front of them. That's how he would go about it with his mindset too.
But it's so clear that he said that it's about 10 good balls. It's not about the allotted 20 overs, but it's about 10 good balls. Rayan Farouk has turned out to be a wicket taker as well. Everything that the captain of Pakistan 11 is touching right now, the Sultanis, Pakistani Sultans, everything that the captain's touching is turning to gold.
In all cricket
Usually
this
a colour
year,
that the Aussies love.
Harley Malpass has got a pretty good average of 42.52, the new man at the crease for the Kangaroos. He bowled okay earlier today as well.
I think as much as it's skilled, and right now the temperament would be tested, because this game still 59 balls, 52 balls is a lot of balls. 59 runs and 52 balls, sensible cricket can still get them there. Sultanis, Pakistani Sultans, just a hint of turn, it's just a treat to watch.
He's bowling well, Rayan Farouk. Second over of spin, and in his last over there was a run out. In this over he's got a wicket. His figures 1 for 6 in his second over. Still not halfway there yet, the Australians.
The court is getting smaller.
Flick through the onside for 1.
Dan, the mob is getting smaller, the group is getting smaller, the court is getting smaller.
The Kangaroo court. There it is.
Because they're being hunted down to the stage. 51 for 6.
By the Sultans. They've taken them to the sword, haven't they? Sultans use swords,
I think
don't
I'm
they?
getting a call for the Sue now, Dan.
Played into the offside, and that's a dot ball. How good's this been? This bowling, just tossing it up, and then it's dipping, not giving the batters much room to play their shots. He plays across the line awkwardly, but gets a run, and Rayan Farouk is a bit frustrated by that. He's miserly. Another great over, 1 for 7. He got a wicket. 12 gone there, 6 for 52. They need 58 or 48 balls, and they've got a long way to go. Still not even at the halfway mark yet. And as we've said a few times, you wonder whether that last wicket partnership by the Pakistani tail enders might be the difference. Absurasan and Ayan Mazar. So 57 required from 8 overs. Here's Issa for his 3rd over again now. And this is wide of the off stump. It's called a wide. Definitely outside the lanes, even though the batter, Jackson Todman, did move in his crease. And they've been big on that with the offside wides this Australian summer. But he was way too wide for Todman to get anywhere near that. So the extras would almost be the top score for the Australians, Xavier Trass. That's and wide of the off stump again.
Yes, in fact, the extras itself was treated as a batter, isn't it, in the scorebooks of Australia. That's
Correct.
how it started.
Jim Maxwell, one of the great cricket commentators, called it Xavier Trass.
Xavier Trass.
Ex-Trass,
yes.
Xavier Trass.
Knowing the Aussies, they might have added a middle name too.
Or S Undries.
Sundries, yes.
Correct.
Sundries.
That's driven, taking a hand off the bat, down to mid-off, hit firmly, and they get a run. They needed that, Australia.
Sundries.
They all count, they're halfway there now. Living on a Prayer, one of the great songs from Bon Jovi.
You've increased my homework with the playlist that you've been suggesting now,
yes,
with the players that you've brought up, which of course, from the encyclopedia of yours, is just marvelous to do homework on. And of course, a lot of Aussie slang. A great mate of ours, Lee. Oh, this
LBW, that's got to be close. That kept very, very low, and it's out.
Came back in sharply.
Oh, did it what?
And he has not relied on any fielder this time around. Isa. Wow,
easy for Isa. I'll tell you what, the umpire took a while to give that decision, and it was eventually given out, and we saw the reaction of the players
that came in
the offside. It did come in sharply. It looked plumb to me. It kept very low.
And the back
got him
leg,
in front.
The back leg is always a risky proposition.
Correct.
For the batter. He stayed glued there. Didn't move it much.
So the 7th wicket goes down. Harley Malpass joins the other 6 Australians in the shed. They need 55 to win, and the Sultans need 3 wickets as the Australian captain, who was brilliant in the field. That was plumb.
That was absolutely plumb. He started to feel the ball and soon realized the finger was going up. He doesn't need to. Marvelous. Just love this from the Pakistani Sultans. 109. The bowlers had to contribute, and they delivered.
I wonder who's going to win man of the match.
I don't know. Oh, this one came in sharply. No chance there. And it came in quicker as well. The ball skidding off the surface. There's a lot of dew.
Here's Ben Baker. This is wide down the leg side. Another sundry. 7 for 56. And this is the 13th over. We were talking earlier about nicknames. Australia have had some wonderful nicknames over the years.
And the middle names too, that you yourself add.
Well, Alan Turner was called Fitteran Turner, because that's an occupation in this country.
I see.
Ashley Woodcock was Splinter Dick. 7 for 56. Correct. Played 1 test for Australia, Ashley Woodcock, and 1 one-day game. It was.
You're unbelievable, Dan. Wow.
Dennis Lilly was fought. Flipping old tart. Don't know why he got that. I think he was whinging about something. And Ian Davis was one of the best. There was a cartoon in Australia called The Wizard of Id. It was on all the back pages of all the newspapers many years ago. And Ian Davis, of course, had the initials. This is a full toss and played away into the offside. And they get another run.
Why was Adam Gilchrist called Church?
1 run.
Adam Gilchrist?
Gilchrist,
Yes,
Christ, Church,
Church.
Christ.
Oh.
Very good, yeah. Ian Davis was the Wizard of Id, because they called him the Wiz, the Wizard. That was Dougie Walters that gave him that. So there's some wonderful nicknames.
And Michael Clark was known as?
Pup.
Pup.
The young pup.
Good delivery.
Very good delivery.
That looked like
Low full toss. Tried to be the attempted Yorker, wasn't far away. Fulham was getting the required result then. So 13 gone, they need 52. It's still a chance for Australia, but they just haven't got enough wickets left, I don't think. What about nicknames among Indian cricketers? Not really.
Jumbo being Anil Kumble, since you mentioned it. Jumbo, Virat Kohli's Chiku.
Chingu.
Chiku. Chiku.
What's that mean?
Chiku is a fruit, but
Right.
I don't think he got it from the fruit. He got it from one of the famous comics that used to be printed.
Yeah.
And Chiku was, I think, a squirrel, and he looked like one after he got a haircut with his ears popping out. So the coach called him Chiku, and that stuck.
Fair enough. Bill Lawry was the Phantom, talking of comic book characters, because he used to have all the Phantom comic books, so they called him the Phantom.
Oh, good ball.
What a wonderful player he was. Don't know how he would have gone with the T20 format.
I think he would have taken it like fish to water.
Well, he might have, but he was very much one of those players that was a stonewall.
I sometimes say that when you say Viv Richards or Virendra Sehwag would have been even more terrific had they been playing T20s in their prime. But I sometimes feel that the fact that they weren't is what's making them even more special. Because that's what made them stand out in an era where there wasn't any. Look at Sana Jayasuriya for that matter. There was no T20 cricket in his prime. But the way he played cricket itself was so flamboyant that it became a USP.
Greg Shippert is one of the great coaches, and of course he coached Delhi.
Yes.
The inaugural coach of Delhi in the IPL had Virendra Sehwag, and he said he just let him be.
That's as simple.
You let him
be wherever you are.
Correct.
One of the Aussies didn't. That became a problem.
Is that right? He made 190 in the Boxing Day Test. That's an interesting shot by Baker. He came right across his stumps and swings that over the head of the wicketkeeper. Exposed all his stumps, and there's an overthrow. So they've been a bit sloppy with overthrows, buys, and drop catches.
That one's got a dedicated column in Sohail's notebook that he's carrying right now.
They've just got to work on that a bit. Baker's 3,
Do not
Jackson
throw
Todman
unnecessarily,
5.
especially when there's a lot of dew, because that's attracting even more mistakes.
Here's Farouk. Baker just plays that virtually off the stumps and away from the wicketkeeper, but it's called a bye. He attempted to play it. He didn't get any bat on that.
Seth hasn't been really
No, it's been
one
a
of those days.
tough old night for him.
Yeah. Perhaps that'll change as the game progresses, as this tournament progresses.
Need 47 off 37. Wide of the off stump. Oh, chance for a stumping, but it was wide of the off stump. Gave Baker a chance to get back. Safe sort of took that, but he had a long way to move to try and whip the bails off. So, to be fair to him, that would have been a miraculous stumping if it had have occurred, because it was good bowling by Rian Faruqi. Bowled wide of the off stump, takes the outside edge on this occasion. The Australians had no idea what was going on then. Jackson Todman. He got squared up completely. This is really good bowling by Rian Farouk, the leg spinner. He has just bamboozled the Australians. Missed out with the bat with 10, but he's bowled beautifully. The boy plays with the very strong St Kilda club in the Premier Cricket Comp in Melbourne. Alternates between the seconds and thirds. Suhas.
I've heard a lot about St Kilda and them playing the second 11 very often. And the first 11 is always a dream for the second 11s.
Well,
is that the kind of cricket culture that Australia prides on?
Well, they tend to get a lot of the players that come from interstate. Melbourne's another one, and Melbourne get all the good country players as well, the good players from country regions who come down. Because of the facilities they've got at Melbourne and because of the Melbourne Cricket Club, they play at the Albert Ground, close to the city. They've got wonderful facilities at Beaumaris in the southern suburbs. And St Kilda, of course, have got the Junction Oval. They call it City Power, where Victoria plays some of their Shield matches. There are clubs right throughout the Premier Cricket competitions in Australia that would be more attractive than others because of facilities, because of their name. This is a beautiful shot driven through the covers, but there's a fielder out the deep.
1 run.
And there's only one run. Kensington's another one in Adelaide. Don Bradman played there when he came from New South Wales. John Inverarity when he came from Western Australia. West Torrens is another. I mean, it just depends.
And how impressive has Afzal been?
He's been terrific. Afzal Ahmed has kept it a little bit low, and he was on the back foot, Baker, as he squeezes into the offside, and they get another run.
I just love the fact that the pacers today from both the sides have had absolute clarity with which they want to approach this game.
7 for 65. They need 45 off 34. The run rate required climbing, nearly 8. Current run rate under 4.5. 1 for 5 in his third over. Afzal Ahmed.
So far, so good for him.
And
first sign of attack. The boot did not cooperate.
Yes. He exposed the stumps and hit that hard. Did Jackson Todman, who's been there a while, 7 off 14.
Afzal's not happy with himself with that kind of a shot. He thinks the stumps should have been strewn apart.
Ben Baker, who fielded brilliantly, took an unbelievable catch. The captain of the Australian side, trying to get them home here. Still a lot of work to do. Moves in the crease, drives, pace taken off at point with a square drive, and it rolls away outside the circle for another run. But they need boundaries, and they're not getting them. And the Pakistanis were struggling to get boundaries until the very end from their two tail enders, who did a good job to get them to 109 when they lost 3 wickets and 4 balls in a Matthew Holmes over. And he was on a hat-trick. Missed the hat-trick, got a wicket the next ball to dismantle the lower order of the Pakistan Sultan lineup. Driving in the air, that was beautiful off the bat. The fielder in the covers might have got a hand on that, and they come back for 2. And nice hitting by Jackson Todman. That was in the sweet spot, 7 for 69.
Sensible bowling just continues to be. Now the required rates pushed over 8. With that couple, it's come just down to 7.9. But I'll tell you what, sensible bowling this from Pakistan Sultans, because they know exactly when to attack and go for the wickets, and exactly when not to go for the wickets but to curtail. It's the last 2 overs that has pushed the required rate up. Look at him, he's not targeting the stumps anymore. The
and
lucky streaky edge will grant the boundary. Much required for the Kangaroos. It's a disappointing end to Afzal Ahmed's third over, but he's still got 6 deliveries to prove a point.
Well, that's a perfect shot in this game. There was no protection at third man. In fact, the fielder was maybe whitish third man, and that was fairly fine right over the slips cordon. And beautiful thick edge, which in this form of the game is a very important shot and a needed shot. 7 for 73, 5 overs left. They need 37 off 30 balls, and we still might have a thriller here in the first night of the under-19 ACL competition at Noosa. Attempting to cut, and Rayan Farouk to finish his spell. He's been terrific.
Marvellous indeed.
Let's have a look at that shot again.
No chance for anybody.
Oh, no way. It was travelling quickly. The outfield's been pretty quick. Attempting to sweep the next one and not really connecting Baker. Another dot ball.
I'll tell you what, funny things have happened in cricket before. 37 or 29 is very much possible. They need to try and target one bowler, but they have to be on the same page with it. Ben Baker and Jackson. You don't want them going after 2 different bowlers to expose them to more risks.
Pulls across the line down to long on. There's a misfield. There's been a little bit of that. Hasnain, who threatened to get going before he was dismissed. Particularly set young man.
The ball is getting soaking wet because of that
It
extra
is.
bit of dew that
Correct.
they're not used to. Fielding is becoming a challenge in itself. You do not want a bar of soap when you're expecting leather. That's gone through! That's gone through, and it's hit the middle of the middle stump.
He's been unreal, Rayan Farouk. What a great spell this has been. Beautiful piece of bowling. Todman out for 13, and the Australians in more trouble, the Kangaroos. 8 for 74 in the 16th over. They still need 36, and the Sultans need 2 wickets.
Superb delivery. It never looked like it's going to be a Yorker, but it eventually was. And in the end, you got to say that he's missed a clear, straight delivery. Not at this level. You can't do it at this level. The Kangaroos are in deeper trouble. 74 for 8.
We've got a lot of work to do here to try and...
I think the hammer has come down. The court is dismissed.
Well, I can't see them winning from here, but we didn't think that Pakistan would get to 100 and they did. So, Zeech bowled beautifully. Bowled 4 overs, none for 7. How can he go with the bat?
How do they go from here, Dan? Does Henry go berserk?
Oh, I think he has to play his natural game. Yeah, and if his natural game is that he's an aggressive bat, he needs to be aggressive. Maybe have a look at a couple and then just have a go. I mean, Rayan Farouk, like all the bowlers, haven't given them much, so that's been the problem. There haven't been a lot of full deliveries. There haven't been too many outside the off stump and the hitting arc. They've bowled beautifully. They've kept them on the back foot. He's beaten, and again, it's not taken cleanly. And I wonder if he had the back foot lifted and Saeed thought maybe I could have had a stumping, but once more, I didn't take it cleanly, which has been an issue tonight. Saif.
Bit more flight this time around, making him come into the back foot. Just one run of the over.
Oh, what an over that
and
was.
A wicket.
4 overs, 2 for 13. What a performance. We've got 4 to go and it's 8 for 74. Haroon to come back in the attack. Zeech and Baker at the crease. We're told that Henry can bat.
Player 27.
63 runs in 16 matches in Queensland Premier Cricket at 3.9. He'll need to beat that average with the greatest respect to the great man. 25 wickets at 18.36, best 5 for 12. And we saw him in full flight with the ball earlier tonight. It's Baker on strike now. Ben Baker, the captain. 4 overs left if required. They need 36 runs. Haroon Nadeem, none for 10. Bowling his final over. Full toss. Baker flicks away. Behind square, just for 1 out to deep backward square. And that's all they'll get. Safe does the fielding. 8 for, I should say, receives the fielding. 8 for 75. 35 needed. 23 balls left, 35 runs needed. Zeech. See how he goes here. He gets a slower delivery, which is down the leg side, and another wide, another extra ball to be bowled, and another one on the Xavier Trass scorecard. Extras. 8 for 76, 34 needed.
It'll be good fun interviewing him with the player of the match.
Where would you find him?
I
haven't seen him arrive at the ground yet.
Xavier Trass.
8 for 76, or S. Undries. This is driven down the ground by Henry Zeech, and it stays hit, but there's protection for the Sultans at long on, 1 run. That deserved more than that. You can hear the crack of the ball on bat. 8 for 77.
Required rate pushed to 9. 33 or 22. Someone needs to go berserk, as I told you. Ben Baker perhaps has been there longer. I think Kangaroos should not worry about getting bundled out and should go for the kill.
Haroon
Ooh.
bowls the attempted slow one, which to me was above waist high, full toss.
Survives there, Haroon. I thought the umpire's arm would be sticking sideways. And the repercussions continue to the next delivery as well. Remember that. Oh, that's a good decision. That was dipping.
Haroon bowls again. Baker swings long and high. And handsomely, but unfortunately for Australia and the Kangaroos, and fortunately for the Sultans, there's a fielder out in the deep mid-wicket. He hit that well, but for just one run, 8 for 78. We're getting an explanation from the third umpire, who's been wonderful support for us tonight, telling us that he might have been crouched in the crease, Ben Baker, as to why that wasn't given as a wide for a waist-high full toss. And again, that one's not given again to Zeech. Was he crouched? .32 needed. Off 19, the run rate has hit past 10. Henry Zeech 1, Ben Baker 9. 8 for 78 in the 17th over. Mighty effort by the Sultans so far to defend this low score of 109.
So far, it's been a terrific over from Haroon.
It has.
And it shall continue to be. Not from the best part of the bat and only a single. The Kangaroos move on to 79 for 8. Required rate has crept up once again. 32 required in 18 balls now. Maybe get 31 in the last 3 overs required with 2 wickets in hand for the Kangaroos.
Will it give them some confidence if they're able to not lose a wicket, but then again, or when I say not lose all 10 wickets, but then again, they would have thought after restricting Pakistan to 109 that they might have got those. So 3 overs left. Haroon Nadeem, none for 15 from 4, like the Australians. The Sultans' bowling figures will be pretty reading. They've all done their job. And Henry Zeech bowled as well as anyone today. He needs to bat well in the last 3 overs. Needs some big hits. Been told he can hit a big ball if given an opportunity. Abdul Rafai was superb early, 3 for 14. Could he be candidate for man of the match?
You never know for the Kangaroos as well. One good over can change it in their favour. That's a good delivery. The options
down
are
the ground to mid-off. And they score. Brings Baker on strike. He needs to be the man on strike. He's in the slot. 8 for 80. Run rate at 10.59 required. Current 4.66. Remembering that Pakistan on a couple of occasions got it past 6 with their run rate of each over scored from. So they had issues scoring too.
30 of 17. Rafi now choosing the slower delivery. It works. He has batted it to the leg stump. Well, in a world where we talk about the off-stump awareness, here he is trying to deliver the leg stump awareness as well.
He went for the ramp shot. It wasn't the right shot.
Baker cannot believe it. He was only seeing the gap. Little did he realize his stumps that he needs to guard too. It's right in there.
4 for 15. What a spell it's been. He's ripped the heart out of the Kangaroos, Abdul Rafai. Arrived late from Melbourne, but no dramas as he came across his stumps. Got plenty of it, but all he could do was just guide it back onto his stumps because he was in an awkward position. He needed to get it higher on the bat and elevate it away over the keeper's head.
Chanceless there.
So here's Reichert, who bowled very well as well, but he's got to make a very important contribution with the bat here to try and get his team home. There's enough balls left, 16. There's 30 runs. It's almost 2 runs off every ball.
Pakistani Sultans can be mighty proud of the way they've closed this game out.
It's been sensational.
It was going only one way in the first innings, but they backed themselves and their bowlers, who haven't disappointed at all. Abdul Rafi is having one of the best nights. 15 for 4. Oh, brilliant. Reichert wondering if his bat is wide enough. He can score runs though. Reichert's not going to hang around. He has to throw his bat around.
Pakistan.
It might be the final nail left
I was just going to say, Suhas, the Pakistan players not playing, getting ready to run out, and it would be one of the great wins here. It's been a tough battle for the Australians.
Reminds me of that recent game in Nepal, where Qatar were taking on Nepal. They collapsed, but they ensured that Sandeep Lamichhane, who picked up 5 wickets and was announced the player of the match, he ensured that the game it was done and dusted in Nepal's favour. That was a low-scoring thriller. This one is as well.
How are those two nations going in there?
Nepal just qualified for the Asia Cup, so we were covering the Asia Cup qualifiers there before took a flight to Brisbane. So it's eventually Nepal, the host country, which went through, beating UAE in the final. There was a game that was played not once but twice because of rain. We had the reserve day too, and because of rain we had to go into the reserve day.
Here's Abdul Rafai again. Again a swing and a miss outside the off stump. Just I think he's a bit too good. The greatest respect for Talon Reichert. He deserves a wicket. With 1 ball remaining, 4 for 15. I've got a feeling that he's probably the favourite to win the man of the match with this outstanding bowling spell by the young man from Melbourne.
Reichert, Zeke, everybody was wonderful with the ball in hand for the men in yellow. But the Kangaroos know that the batters have faltered. They saw 110 perhaps went too hard at it, and they find themselves 30 short at the moment. And they've got 13 deliveries to conjure up magic. Can Reichert do it for them? Not with such a timid response.
Gee, that's good bowling, isn't it?
1 run and a wicket for Abdul Rafi. Completes his quota of 4. With 4 for 15, he can be mighty proud. Abdul Rafi take a bow.
Well, Pakistan will play Sri Lanka tomorrow. The Sultans against the Lions, and then it's India and Australia. The Tigers against the Kangaroos. So we've got 2 overs to go, and they need 30 runs.
Tomorrow is going to be a slightly earlier start. We started at 2 today, and we'll start at 1 p.m. tomorrow. They'll also reduce the impact of dew in the second game.
Afzal Ahmed.
Because at this stage, you're just wishing, as a bowler, that the towels are as big as the trousers themselves.
Yes.
Not from the middle of the bat, because for a while, you don't know if it exists. We haven't seen anything from the middle of the bat in a while that contributes to good bowling.
No, it's been tough, hasn't it? It's been a real battle for the Kangaroos. They probably, if they had their time again, they did win the toss. They might have batted first, I think, with the conditions the way they are, and knowing that the dew was coming, it just might have been, they obviously thought that it might have been tougher bowling second, but I just think to get runs on the board, is probably the way to go. Anyway, Afzal Ahmed bowls one that's kept very, very low and not taken cleanly by the wicketkeeper, and goes to the boundary for 4. And Xavier Trass adds to his total.
Luckily, there's no helmet there. Otherwise, that's 5 more.
Correct.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That would have been 5 runs. 1 more added.
9
and
for 85.
At the moment, Kangaroos will take even 0.25 of a run.
25 runs needed off 10 balls.
25 of
Could
10.
they get them in extras? Swinging beautifully over the infield. That might nearly go for 4 now. An excellent piece of fielding.
I'll tell you what, the ball's also slowed down because of dew. He crunched it through the extra region.
The outfield's nowhere near as quick as it was earlier in the day. He was like glass, even early this evening in this match.
It's interesting, isn't it? You want to bat fourth, you win the toss and choose to bowl first. You're going to bat fourth on a day where 2 games have been played on the surface, the dew coming in as well. It's supposed to come onto the bat nicely with the dew, but it also means that you're trading some of your shots off because the outfield is going to be spongy and wet.
Swung away again. That's beaten backward point to the boundary for 4. Well, it was short outside the off stump, and he just had a swing, and he connected then. Henry Zeech.
He had to go hard at it.
He did.
And there wasn't a third man, so he has got the license to play that shot as well. Any shot that's going to go for 4 is quite good. The dew. Every blade of grass is got a crown on top.
Have a look at that. That is wet, isn't it? It's like there's been an inch of rain or 5 inches of rain. 9 for 90. Full toss. Swung away by Zeech through the onside, but there'll be protection out in the deep. And he'll only get 1. And again, it's not taken cleanly by the wicket keeper. Safe, but they get another run. And they need 19 to win with 1 ball remaining. 9 for 91. Half a chance in the last over. Trying to work out who'd be bowling that last over.
Is that a Yorker coming in?
Afzal Ahmed.
Does he want to finish it off?
This is swung high. This is swung long. But there are 2 fielders converging out the deep. And it pitches in front of them. Just didn't quite get enough on it, but a good effort by Reichert. They've run 2. They need 17 off the last over. 9 for 93. And Afzal Ahmed finishes with 1 for 22 from 4 overs. 1 over to go. Issa will bowl the last over. They need 17.
Change forward. Player 06.
So are they any chance here?
16 is the cushion that the men in green have got. 17 and the Kangaroos can walk away with a win. If they do so, it'll be right in the folklore, this game. 93 for 9. The final pair is out there. And their task is to score 17 of the last over.
Well, they need a 6 and they need boundaries. Problem is, the Pakistanis have managed to have fielders out the deep and cover most of the exits, and generally the bowling hasn't allowed for the big hits today. They've all done their job.
They're going to dance down the track if need be. Throw Issa off his line and length. The first delivery having an appointment with the boundary rope is going to be very important for the Kangaroos to gather some momentum. Otherwise 17 can become a distant dream. Where's this one going to be from Issa? He's someone who bowls a good Yorker, who's got a good slower delivery, but he's got a wet old ball, and that can act against him. He's going with seam up for a start and not a cross seam. First ball, 93 for 9, 17 required. And he's chosen to flirt with the wide line. That's 1 run. That's some cotton taken away from the bolster. I wonder what this chat would be about. Because Zeich knows that he's going to swing for the fences and beyond. I think Zeich is trying to thread it through the offside once again.
We saw Todman a couple of overs ago get a thick edge, and that raced to the boundary. We know that the ground's a bit chewy now, though.
Yeah, in his defence, I thought there was a bit deliberate because there was no third man. Good ball.
Swing and a miss.
He's just gone back to the basics here. Henry's got no option but to swing for the fences. That inside-out shot, something that he's trying, the chances of it coming off is a little less. Reason being, the bat percentage is ideal. The bat percentage is very important for you to get the right timing on it. And it's not the smallest of boundaries either. And if you hit the ball down on the ground, then dew is not your best friend.
I think he's got to swing it across the line.
Target the V region in front of you or behind. Swing and a miss once again, and this time the keeper does well enough to put his body behind. Otherwise it would have skidded through.
Kept low too, didn't it? Just didn't have enough bounce to get anything on that, Henry Zeech. He's made 9 of 11. Talon Reichert 3 off 7. 16 from 4 balls. For a famous win. 4 boundaries. Again, I'll say it, easier said than done, Suhas.
But what are the boundary options as well? Well, look at that. There is less pressure, but Isa is faltering. Every run taken off that cushion. All he needs to do is keep his front foot in check and bowl in the corridor, and that'll do. If he can target the stumps, it can get done even quicker. Kangaroos believe that they can do it. 4 boundaries required from Zeech, number 4. Can he get that? Boundaries are going to be a little difficult to get, I mind you. Over the top is a better option. Again, because of the dew factor.
Correct.
The ball's coming onto the bat nicely.
Still think a thick edge is the way to go.
Ah, that's not got the elevation.
Bowling.
2, he's got to come back for the second because he's played more deliveries. Direct hitter would have been a different story. Isa was hallucinating that he'd got that ball.
We can still have a tie.
Last time you said it, we almost had one. Remember, Melbourne?
Correct. Yeah, I did. Super over then.
Super over would be tricky indeed. But super over is still miles away. The ball needs to travel miles if you need a super over from this stage. 13 of 3. Low scoring thriller at its best. Against Henry, 11 of 13 looks innocuous given the situation, but he can pack a punch. The slower delivery from Isa at the right time. He's inviting the batter to go for the big shot by applying his own power, as he's not providing the pace, Isa.
2 sixes off the last 2.
2 sixes of the last 2. You never know. Dan, pad up.
Improbable,
It's happened before.
but not
It's happened before. It's happened in the IPL as well
impossible.
recently.
Well, you'd give it every chance of happening in the IPL with the amount of money that those players are on, and
The skill level.
correct, and the skill level. Yes,
Back
that's why they're on that much money, because of their skill level and their talent. That's a good shot, but he's been caught. It couldn't clear the field. He's been caught in the covers, and Isa picks up the last wicket. And look at the Pakistanis running from everywhere. That is a famous win. They've defended 109, and they've beaten the Australians by 11 runs. They're out for 98 with 1 ball left. Isa gets his 2nd wicket. What a win that was by Pakistan. They got early wickets, which is what they needed, and the Australians were never in the hunt.
110. 110 was the target. And Pakistani Sultans said, we are going to pounce on the Kangaroos today. Bowling them out for just 98. A big headache when this happens in the first game of the tournament. The bowlers of the Kangaroos did their job. It's the batters who faltered. And that will be a hot topic in the team discussion now. They should have humbled the Pakistani Sultans, but the bowlers of Pakistani Sultans proved too much for the men in yellow.
And of course, Absar Hassan and Ayan Mazar were the 2 at the end that got a valuable partnership to get their team past 100, and that was probably the difference. Another bowling was outstanding, but those valuable runs at the very end
Just tells you the importance. Just tells you the importance of playing the allotted overs.
Correct.
You will eke out the mistakes out of frustration from the opposition, and that's what happened. And the head coach would be mighty proud. Sohail, who himself is an astute cricketer and a captain, now taking care of the boys at an impressionable age, just tells you how much of cricketing knowledge he can pass on, and the boys have delivered. Pakistani Sultans, they were looking down and out after the first innings, but belief and ability has got them the 2 points that they deserve at the end of the first game. What a context we've got. What a contest. ACL under-19 just continues to give, and the carnival's just getting started. The Kangaroos were hunted down from the beginning.
Never
Ali
looked like
Nasser
it.
didn't contribute much. Harrison is going to have a very, very poor night thinking about that dismissal for sure. Bellion Hurd, Cruz Baker, just one person getting a start for me. That was Jackson Todman with the way he looked comfortable. Curtis spent a lot of time in the middle as well, but there was one partnership required, which Kangaroos just kept waiting and waiting for, and it never came.
Look at the bowling. Afzal Ahmed, 1 for 22. 18 dot balls for Abdul Rafai, 4 for 15. Should win the man of the match. We'll find that out in a minute. He's at 2 for 21, 12 dot balls. And Rayan Farouk, who missed out with the bat, the captain, and he made 10 with the bat. An outstanding performance by the leg spinner. 15 dot balls, 2 for 13. A great performance. And the Kangaroos never really in the hunt. 1 for 3, 2 for 3, 3 for 5, 4 for 19, and then 5 for 42, and it fell away after that. All out for 98 with 1 ball remaining, and the Pakistan Sultans win their first game after the Indian Tigers won their first game earlier today. And of course tomorrow the tournament continues, and we look forward to it. The earlier game, meant to be at 2 o'clock, will start a bit earlier, and that'll be between the Pakistani Sultans and the Sri Lankan Lions, and then later on the Indian Tigers will take on the Australian Kangaroos. But a big win by the Pakistani Sultans by 11 runs after the Indian Lions won earlier today by 42 runs over, sorry, the Indian Tigers won earlier today by 42 runs over the Sri Lankan Lions. We'll have some post-match interviews with Suhas, with the 2 captains, and also the man of the match. And of course, don't forget tomorrow, as we have a great look from above at this magnificent venue here at Noosa. We look forward to another great day's cricket tomorrow, day 2 of the Under-19 ACL Carnival.
Oh, what a game of cricket we've got. A game of cricket that we'll remember for a long time. It's the Kangaroos who are eventually humble, by Pakistani Sultans. An incredible game of cricket for what the bowlers did in an era where batting and hitting sixers is all that we talk about in T20 format. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the post-match presentation party. We have with us Zorawar Sidhu, the birthday boy. He's got a glitzy trophy and he'll be giving it away very soon. It's time now to talk to the captain who came second, Ben Baker. Well, Ben, 109 to restrict a team like Pakistani Sultans to 109. You must be mighty proud with your boys.
Yeah, I was really happy with our bowling effort. I think Henry Zeech and Talon Reichardt really set the tone with the ball, as well as Deepinder Singh. I thought we were really outstanding up front, and then to Pakistan's credit, they held in and ended up putting up a competitive total that got them across the line.
What do you think about the surface itself and the way your boys adjusted, especially with the ball in hand? Be it Zeech, be it Reichardt, and you yourself on the field, wasn't easy.
Yeah, look, the dew came into play as the further we went on, so I think the bowlers decided to take the pace off the ball a bit more and, hit their areas really well, which I thought they did really well.
At the halfway stage, you would take 110, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if you offered me that at the start, I definitely would have taken it.
Where do you think it went wrong, finally?
Oh, look, I think Pakistan was really good with the ball up front. Their seamers were outstanding, and then through the middle, their spin and bowl was fantastic. So probably weren't able to put partnerships together as well as we would have liked, but look, it was a great game for cricket, and to see the passion out there was really good.
Hard luck today, Ben, but all the best for the next one.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Ben Baker, the captain who came second. It's time now to talk to the winning skipper, Rian Farooq. Well, congratulations, Rian, first of all, on the performance. What did the coach tell you at the halfway stage? Because 109 was looking below par, to be honest.
Yeah, coach was like, just don't give up. Cricket, it's a funny game, just keep going. Be really on in the field. It's not easy to bat out there, so just bowl that length and you'll be fine.
The players were not getting the starts. The batters were not getting the starts. The entire game was all about the bowlers delivering, including yourself. A word on your performance first up.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was hard to bat out there. Pitchers doing a little bit. I think Australian bowlers bowled really well. We bowled really well. Yeah, it was hard to get partnership out. I didn't have many partnerships. Yeah, I think everyone bowled well in both teams, to be honest.
Sensible spell from Afzal. I love the way you utilised him as well. A little different from what we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, Afzal in the power play he bowled well, and I took him off after two, and then he bowled at the end, which is good. He's pretty quick, which is good at the end as well. Yeah.
You've got a master, Rafe. He knows how to bowl the slower delivery and a Yorker at a time when there was a ball which is also known as a bar of soap.
Yeah, Rafe, he's just excellent today, especially in the power play. Took three, I think, or two big wickets. At the end, he just finished it off basically. Really good variations.
And finally, how important is it to have a game that tests you and the unit, the first game of the tournament, and more important, of course, to come out winning?
Yeah, we were like 90 for like 9 down, and then we got 110. It was really good, and then it was a tough challenge in the field, and we bowled really well, so it was good.
Well captained and well played. All the best for the next game as well.
Thank you.
It's a winning skipper, Rian Farooq. It's time to give away some silverware. I request the birthday boy, Zorawar Sidhu, who's got this lovely trophy, and he'll be giving it away to the player of the match. And who else can it be? For 4 for 15, and some terrific fielding efforts as well. It has to go to Abdul Rafi. Phenomenal effort, Abdul Rafi. Abdul, what did the captain tell you first up?
First of all, alhamdulillah, big thanks to Allah. Nothing happens without his command. Brian, I guess he just told me, he knows my skill. I played with him a couple times. He just told me to just back myself. I mean, at the start, I knew bowling second maybe wasn't what's favourable, but I reckon in my mind I knew it will swing more due. Well, they got the less softer ball. Well, our ball was soft, wet, but I guess I just executed, I reckon. Yeah, alhamdulillah, yeah.
That length doesn't come very naturally to everyone. You've got to practice a lot to be testing the shoulder of the bat.
Yeah, I reckon I knew if I bowl full here with that ball, boundary is not too massive, I would have got whacked. Yeah, so I reckon I just had to keep it a little bit back. I reckon, yeah.
Once you started getting wickets, did the onus increase? Were you telling yourself, I got to go full throttle?
Oh, well, it's T20 cricket. Like, you could get 5 wickets in the power play, but anything can change. But in my mind, I knew that, you know, you get the top 3 out, top 4 out. Afzal from this end and a couple of the other boys, they backed me as well. So, alhamdulillah, you know, like, big thanks to them as well. But yeah, once you get that 3-4 in the power play, you're always on top.
And finally, the lower order scoring the runs so that you can bowl at them.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help bowling to an opening batter. But yeah, once the lower order came in, I guess it was just about executing. Yeah.
Very well played. The 4 wickets looked magnificent, and it's given you a new benchmark as well. The trophy looks good too. All the very best for the next one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, there you have it. The player of the match, Abdul Rafi. That's all we got for you from today's game at the ACL Under-19. Tomorrow we have a 1 p.m. start, so we'll be there early. And we'll meet you then. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us here at the Noosa Cricket Club.